I might die tonight, but if I do, I'm a...
Nope.
Love thyself.
Knowing there's a problem at hand to begin with.
My guy! All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Might Die podcast. This is episode 27, and Big Schmeddo's here. How are you, Big Schmeddo?
Good, thank you. Back on board, back at it. Wasn't here last week due to a couple of personal things, but we're here, we're back.
Good stuff. And we have our guest here, Kris Preston. How are you, brother?
Good, thanks, man.
What's happening?
Same, different day.
Same. So a little bit of a rundown on who you are and what's going on. I've just got a couple of things here. So you are the owner, founder of ZRO FUX Clothing. You're a father. You're a bit of a positive influencer. I feel like a lot of your videos are very positive and are very into it sort of thing. And obviously business owner. So we'll probably touch on all those different things. But I feel like top of the list, you're a new father. New dad, recently-ish?
Yeah, fairly new.
You got two kids, yeah?
Yeah, two now.
Yeah.
Firstborn, she's 2.5.
Yep.
Secondborn, he's about 1.5. So,
Yep.
right in the trenches of two little ones running an
I was
absolute
to say, enjoying that real good time of age.
That's
Oh,
you're
yeah.
right amongst that, right?
really enjoying, in quotation marks, all that time to myself.
Yeah, nice. All right, obviously going off that sort of stuff too, yeah. We're probably very similar with the whole owning clothing brands. Very similar sort of attitude, but different vibes and styles and all that stuff. How long you been running it for? What's the background of all ZRO FUX? Give us a little bit of a rundown of ZRO FUX. FUX, so don't demonetize me, YouTube. I'm not actually swearing until I say the C word.
We can say ZF if you want. Just to keep it
True.
short and sweet.
Nice.
We did rebrand to ZF recently anyway, so
Yeah, right,
it
true.
kind of fits.
Yeah, nice.
How it started and all that, wow, I could talk for hours on the whole journey, but do you want me to like nutshell beginnings?
Now that you sort of say that, we could probably touch back a little bit too. We went to school together. You were in the same year as my sister.
Yep.
A
year above.
Were you? Yep. All right, cool. Yeah, we sort of grew up around the whole bike scene-ish. We sort of mingled a bit here and there and all that sort of jazz. And then we obviously all went off to do our things. You ran gyms for a bit and all that stuff. So like you're right amongst the whole business vibes. Is that, again, like you went from gyms to clothing, or run through that for us?
Yeah, wow, okay, I can go back a little further.
Yeah, take us all the way back, brother. Tell us what the
picture
go
of
is.
it all.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I left school in year 10 to get an apprenticeship.
Yep.
Had my T-shirt signed by everyone. Fucking 2 years later, not coming back.
Yep.
Was back for day 1 of year 11, didn't get a job.
Really?
For you and man.
So I was the kid that left school and he had his T-shirt signed, but then came back.
No shit.
Yeah,
right.
What were you trying to get an apprenticeship? What were you aiming for then?
One of the main three: carpentry, sparky, or plumbing.
Yep, fair call.
Oh,
And,
it happened for a good reason then.
Yeah, look,
Yeah, definitely.
it was in that era where everyone was like, if you want an apprenticeship, like you got to have your license, you got to have VCE, which was like at least year 11 complete.
Yep.
Like, all right, fuck it, we'll go back, we'll do year 11. Parents weren't wrapped. I came home with my shirt signed, by the way. They didn't know that I was leaving school. Just said, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a fan of school and the system.
Yes.
Just didn't fit what I wanted to do in life. Just like, fuck this, I'd rather be out,
Yep.
earning a quid, getting going.
Yep.
Anyway, ended up staying through, did year 12. Ended up having a really good time in year 12 because you're 18, all your mates got our licenses, you know.
So you went the whole hog.
I ended up doing the whole hog.
True.
Right.
To still do an apprenticeship when I finished, but this time, you know, had VCE accreditation, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Did a plumbing apprenticeship completed that.
Yep.
And once I finished that, I remember looking around and there was a heap of subbies that were all qualified, been in the trade for fucking years. It's all they knew in their lives.
Yep.
I think one of them was 45 at the time. And I remember looking at him one day. This is so clear to me. He was just complaining about like how sore his back was in his body, and like he was just banged up from being in the trade.
Yep.
And I remember looking at him and I just said to myself, if I don't change what I'm doing right now, that's going to be me in 20 years.
Yep.
Nice. Yep.
Yep.
And that day, I grabbed my tools at lunchtime, put them in my car, and I left, and I never went back.
Really?
Yeah. I was qualified. I'd finished. I was just subbing out on a job.
Yep.
And, yeah, I just said, you know what? Fuck this.
Yeah,
You seem to be, just from those couple of little stories, your brand fits you perfectly.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like, oh, I'm not here for school, so I'm going to jump the gun. Oh, now I'm back. Hey, guys, I'm that dude. And then same deal with work. Like, I that's it, done. Catch
Yeah.
up.
There was a bigger story to that. When I was in year 10, you guys probably will remember this, real estate agent Laurel Macon that was murdered showing the guy through the house in Melton. Like,
Yeah. I remember that.
That was my auntie.
Oh,
Really?
Wow.
So I was 15 at the time,
Right.
turning 16.
Yep.
Shit.
And that really kicked off a whole lot of things for me. It's just like, whoa. Usually you would see stuff on the news and it was like, you get really conditioned to it.
Yeah,
And it just
yeah.
becomes numb. It's like, oh, fuck, poor bastard. Like, oh, gee, that's no good. You know, a bit rough. You just brush it off like it doesn't happen.
Yep. It's not close enough to care.
Nah, when you wake up on Sunday morning, turn the TV on and there's a photo of your auntie on the TV and they're going through it, it's just like, holy fucking shit. Welcome to the real world,
so
son.
different.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was just a slap in the face to be like, fuck, man. Like, you get one crack at this.
Yep.
And this is the real world. It's not as pretty and as cushy as what you've been brought up to believe in the system in the world and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Right.
So that probably kicked off a lot of things for me.
That was a really big deal too. Like it was it was very, what would you call it? Like not out of context because obviously those things happen, but it was a very like shocking event.
For the time.
And the time, like it was, like things always happen, but that was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what, did anything come of that?
Yeah, I don't think he was on the run for long. I think it might have been.
And was there reasoning? Was there like past thing, or was it just a crazy dude in the wrong place, wrong time, sort of?
Oh, of course, crazy.
Yeah, well,
but I think he lasted about a week on the run.
right.
Maybe not even, maybe 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
From reading the reports, I haven't gone like right deep into it, but from what I've read, it was like he reminded her of his de facto wife.
Right.
That was enough reason for him to
Lose it.
set up the appointment, meet at the house, show her through the house, and then
Wow, man. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
That's
shit,
heavy.
bro.
That's
That's
shit
fucking
ass,
proper
but-
heavy.
yeah, it
Wow.
really was, and it still is. Like the amount of external damage those events create within families and whatnot
Yeah, of
is
course.
like is
Yeah,
next
not
level that
even
you don't see.
not even just to you as an individual, that everyone else that surrounds you, family that's connected, it affects, and then that also has a multiplying effect when everyone's getting affected in that area where those people that would usually support you in a hard time, they
Can't
can't because they all need the support.
Yep.
There's not enough fucks to give, or not enough, like people just, as you were saying before, like it's kind of, unless it's you, it's like, holy shit, that's very unfortunate, sad, upsetting. Oh, shit, I'm back to my day now.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Fuck, dude, that's crazy. So yeah, obviously that was a big eye opener at an early age.
Yeah, and I think that shaped me
Yeah.
from a character level
Yeah.
immensely to what I do,
Yep.
to a point where I'm happy to take a risk and not give a fuck about the outcome.
Yeah. Fair.
Because I'm just like, fuck it, I could not wake up. I might not wake up tomorrow.
Yeah. Totally.
Like great, and it's so sick to hear that and to know that you've taken it on in a positive way, but such a shit thing to go through at that time to learn that lesson.
Yeah. It's all, yeah.
But who's to say if that lesson wasn't learnt, where and what you'd be doing right now?
You'd have a sore back
100%.
still being a fucking tradie.
Yeah, look, you don't know.
You don't know. Though.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have been the kid that got his shirt signed in year 10 and came back in year 11.
Yeah.
Probably would have just stayed through, so I wouldn't have looked like a dick when I came back.
True. Yeah. You never know. Yeah. It's,
Hey, but if you
right.
didn't do that, we didn't have the story to talk about
Yeah.
today.
That's it. That's it.
It's what makes you up.
Yeah. So yeah, there's all those things, and I actually remember another defining moment. I had a mohawk at the time, as did
Sick.
most of us back then. This
How
was that
good.
era back. This was
yeah.
the same era.
What do you mean? I'm still living in the era. I've still got a mohawk.
Technically, so do I. It's just a hectic dread one. But yeah, we won't get into the mohawk stages. I'm glad you've grown out of it, brother.
But I remember getting ready for the funeral, and I said to mum and dad, I'm like, is it disrespectful if I go to like a funeral with a mohawk? Because I'm just a 15-year-old kid, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're still learning your way around life, and you think you know it all. You're fucking far from it.
Yep.
And I remember like mum and dad saying to me, like, you got to stop caring about what anyone thinks. Like, do not care about what anyone thinks.
Yeah,
Like,
nice.
it's all just
That's so good.
yourself.
Yeah,
and like
sick.
that is probably one of my biggest zero fucks moments as a young kid.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, hang on a minute. Why should I give a fuck about what anyone else thinks? Like, if someone's judging me or talking shit about me, good on them.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Especially
do
for
fuck
something
all for me.
Especially as something as basic as a haircut. Like if you can attack me for a haircut, then
Yeah. And you know what? It's probably more of a reflection of me than it was of anyone else.
Yeah.
Because there's that old mirror story where I'm probably judging people's haircuts down the street.
yes.
And I'm the one that's created that story in my own head.
Correct. Very,
People
very
could have
true.
been walking past going, fuck, his mohawk's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, fuck, what's that cunt looking at?
With his fucking shit mullet. Like, hey, calm down, mate. You got a shit mohawk too. You're like, we're all,
And that's like
some-
what Zero Fucks is about. It's just not giving a fuck about what anyone thinks, staying in your own lane and just going for it.
Yep.
Because most of the time, the stories are made up in our own head based on past experiences, which are just projections.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very correct. 100%.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's awesome to know that there's, you know, there's always a story behind anyone doing something, whether it's a clothing company, brand, whatever. But just to get the understanding of like, you know, because it's like people look at like Zero Fucks. Oh yeah, that's a cool name or you know, people look at it and go, oh, of course he's named it that. But to now know why, and there's always a story to everything, but it's like
There's background to it.
yeah, and it's not even just, as I said before, it's like the person you are and have been and then grown into and everything you've kind of
Yeah, you're not just saying it, you live in it.
It fits, man.
Yeah,
It definitely fits.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we found hard in the early days of the brand. There was a huge element of people that understand it at first face value.
Yep.
I relate to that. I can
Yep.
resonate with it. But then there's also a large percentage that are like, oh, Zero Fucks. Like, why the fuck would you want to wear?
should
like,
care. Why don't you care?
Yeah, what do you mean? Like, why don't you care about the environment or whatever the bullshit they're gonna spin?
Yep.
But what it's about is just not giving a fuck about what anyone thinks and just
Yeah, it's actually caring for you.
it is.
Yeah.
It's like
it's the biggest
best form of
caring part
self-care.
of you.
Like if you want to be successful in life and you want to do epic things, you cannot give a fuck about what anyone thinks, and that's bottom line.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to create the content, put your face out on the internet, put yourself out there, put your opinions out there.
Yep.
If you cared about what people thought, none of us would be sitting here today.
100%.
That's right, man. And I guess at that, there was a lot of, 5-6 years ago, you'd always have a camera around and would always have one in our face and all the above, but doing this and starting it off and just trying new little things that we did on our own, it was like, that's such a learning curve of like, and we only spoke about it 2 or 3 podcasts ago, like you actually cannot give a fuck, and being so genuine and just real and not trying to put on, this like loud or funny or fucking in your face kind of person, just being you for who you are. Like that's when it's taken on board the best and received the best.
Yep.
I was going somewhere with it, but yeah.
It's like that quote that says, people's opinions don't pay your bills.
No.
Yep.
It's fucking spot on.
Yep.
Like you can sit there all you want and dwell about what you think other people are going to say,
Yep.
not maybe what they are saying,
Yep.
and be held back by that, but you'll stay there for the rest of your life.
Definitely.
100%.
And I think too, like, it's one of those things, like you said before, like there's certain people that understand it and there's certain people that don't understand it. And that just comes down to the doing of things. Mm-hmm. All you need to do is do a few things where you do just let go of that fuck you give and feel and see the outcome, and you're like, oh, dude, this is so much better than caring.
Yeah.
And again,
Yeah.
when I say that, I like to put them into 2 different categories. Like, I care, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Care about you, care about
100%.
you. I care about this camera. It's a good camera. But I don't give a fuck if it blows up today.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, I don't, and I don't give a fuck what you do today. I don't give a fuck what you do tomorrow. But I care and I hope it's good.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I think you have to live that or at least implement it to be able to see it. Like, I can say that as much as I want, but if you haven't implemented that, it won't make sense to you.
If you're living in comfort, if you're living in a comfort zone,
Correct.
and you don't do anything that challenges you, whether it's morally, physically, or mentally, you
Yep.
will never understand what zero fucks means.
Yep. Fucking
100%,
guaranteed.
100%. And that is a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly occurrence for every human that's on this planet.
Absolutely.
Don't think you're going to ever fucking dodge that, what we just spoke about, because you're not invincible. No one fucking is. And the sooner you realize and understand that, the better.
I think that everyone has a zero fucks moment in their life that is when you're really challenged with some adversity.
Yep.
You have to decide,
Yes.
how long am I going to let this fucking run my life for?
Yep.
Because I'm caring fucking so much about it.
Yep.
And B, when's the day going to come where you decide to wake up and you know what? I don't give a fuck about that anymore.
Yep.
Because it's fucking ruining my life. It's
Yep.
like, you fucking throwing all your trash in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Instead of throwing it in the bin, it's just piling up. But
Yep.
instead, that's your brain, it's your mindset. You're
Yep.
just constantly fogged.
Yep.
You'll never move forward.
Yep. And that comes from like anything too, like that can be your job, that can be a relationship, that can be just your daily, you fucking going to the fucking pub every night and you don't want to be going to the pub every night, but you still go to the fucking pub every night, is that relationship
Oh,
you're
but if
in.
I don't go, I'll get a text from Matt who'll call me a weak cunt. Oh, I better go. Fuck Matt.
Exactly.
Yeah, dude. And like even like I can't remember. We were saying something sort of about it earlier that like the truth is, you're not missing anything.
Yep.
The more it feels like you are, and like don't get me wrong, there will be some moments at the pub with Matt that are fucking golden, that are truly a good time, but it doesn't matter. And the things you could be doing outside that could be so much better. And I think once you can understand that you're not really missing much over here and there's so much to actually miss on this side,
Yes.
it starts becoming a lot clearer, you know what I mean? Like those things are, we all have our defining sort of moments of like, yeah, I'm out fucking on a bit of a bender and I met this dude and we're fucking long life friends now and all that. And that can happen. But truth is, you also could have been at a fucking conference and met someone else that wasn't a fucking drop kick at the club, that has a business, that's taught you something, that now you're as fucking high as them. And that's the little differences that I think...
I feel personally in that, like, fear of missing out in those times, like, if you're there, like you say, it can be a good time, a good time, all the above. You're not there, it's like, oh, I wonder what, oh, shit, I wish I was there, blah, blah, blah. And then you hear the stories the next day or the next weekend about that time of missing out, and it's like, the people that were there emphasize it all to make the fear of missing out to that person like even worse.
Well, it's their own dialogue that it's like, I'm doing good. The weekend was sick.
Exactly.
Was it
exactly.
though? Like I went and did some mad shit. And you want me to list what I did on the weekend?
Yep.
You just sat in a room and
you're trying to justify that what you've done there and gone there, knowing that it's just like a routine that's doing nothing good for you.
Correct.
You're talking about it, just saying it's
Justifying
such a fucking great thing.
That's just Australia. People just want to make other people feel like shit all the time.
It is.
I think it's just fucking the world, man. These humans.
Yeah, but Aussies have got
kicker
a
for
real
me-
fucking...
The real kicker for me around that whole thing, when you maybe in that environment and you decide, okay, I am going to remove myself from that and work on myself or grow a business or whatever you're pursuing or a new career, is how quickly you've forgotten about.
Oh.
All of a sudden, you're the most important player in the book. Everyone wants you there, and then you step away for a month. You get the odd text and call, where are you? And all of a sudden, you just maybe stop replying, or you just respond, I can't make it tonight, whatever.
Yeah, all you
Give
need
it
to do
another
is
month.
let
you
him
won't hear
down
from
3 times.
That's it.
You're never going to hear from him again.
I call it 3 months. It's like a 3 month thing. That's what I went through.
Yep.
Kind of heads back to where I left off with my story about where I was going.
Yeah,
where
good,
I started was when I finished my apprenticeship, I did that. At that time, it was like you live for the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
We worked all week, and then Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, you're on the piss benders, like carrying on like a absolute larrikin.
Yep.
Do it all again. Hate yourself Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, I'm feeling good again. Friday, let's go. Repeat cycle.
Yep.
Absolute madness.
Yep.
And I then got into fitness. Fitness was my passion, but I didn't want to do the trade for life. So I'm like, well, I've got to do something now. Like, what is going to be my career? How am I going to get ahead? I always wanted to be really successful.
Yep.
I couldn't settle for just like a a week-to-week paycheck. For me, it was business. I had to have some sort of business. So I got into fitness, did my PT, started to try and scale that, and I had no idea about business. I had no idea about marketing. I had no idea about sales. I thought that you would just have the title as a personal trainer,
Yep.
go to a gym, and people just walk up to you and say, hey,
Train me.
Yeah.
I want to train with
and
you.
people will come.
And I'd be like, awesome.
nah.
Yeah.
So I did that for 3 weeks and just sat around like, okay, this is this
Not
is
doing
really
much.
tough. Well, maybe I should go back on the tools, you know. And
Fuck, another year 10 leaving early, jumping the gun moment. Like, damn it. I
Why
did
do I
it
keep
again.
going back?
yeah,
True.
just this frustrated little boy.
Yeah.
So what made you go? All right, I got to pull my finger out. Like, what? I need to implement things.
Cold winter morning, drizzling rain. Front door knocks.
Yeah.
It's fucking odd. It's Sunday, pretty early in the morning. Dad gets up. I thought, oh, Dad will deal with it. Next minute, he opens my door. Hey, someone's here to see you. Yeah?
Yeah.
You better get dressed. Fuck. What the fuck's going on? Peek out the blind. 2 guys in trench coats. Big fuckers. What the fuck do they want?
What did I do last night? I don't remember.
Yeah. Fuck.
What the fuck? Anyway, go to the door. When I started PT, the first 3 months, I did so badly that I could not afford repayments on my car or any of my other obligations.
Oh,
repo.
They came to repossess my car.
Oh, no. No.
Fuck.
And luckily, like, Dad, if you're listening, fucking love you so much, man. Like,
On your dad.
the amount he's just bailed me out and got me through life is just like, I can't put
Yeah.
anything on it. It's,
Yeah.
you know, if you have a good relationship with your dad or any father figure, you'll understand that.
Yeah.
He was able to foot the bill. I think we had 7 days to pay like what we owed.
Yep.
I did that and I kept the car, and he actually looked at me and he's like, you got to fucking sort your shit out.
Yeah,
He's
right.
like, you need to get a job or you got to do something. But he's like, you got to fucking sort your life out. And I think when you hear that from someone who has that amount of influence over you,
Yeah, it is big.
it's kind of just like, yep, okay.
And especially too, like you almost putting it like it was put calmly too, in a sense. Yeah, it wasn't like he didn't yell it at you.
Nah,
Yeah.
He advised. He advised you that was probably the best move to make.
yeah.
Which I think,
It's so much harder.
coming from a very angry dad, very typical Maltese yell everything, that would never come across like that.
Mm-hmm.
It would come across like, you need to pull your head in because you're a fucking dumb cunt.
Yeah.
He would never physically say it like that, but that was
Yeah.
the difference of feeling. So I think
'Cause-
like
And the anger would be there for a week.
100%.
Two.
And for both of us, it would
Yeah.
just be like a jam. Like, don't fucking tell me what to
But
do.
he knows I was in the hole.
Yes.
Like, I'm fucking getting emotional now.
Yeah.
The lead up to that
Yep.
was driving the car down the road uninsured, hit a fucking kangaroo
Right.
in an Audi.
Yeah, right. Oh.
Uninsured.
Uninsured.
Oh.
Yep.
So
Expensive.
I'm like, expensive when you don't have money.
Yeah.
So there was that. My phone bill was, every month my phone bill was cut off because I just
Yep.
couldn't pay it.
Yep.
2 days before that door knock was a phone call from Credit Corp
Yeah.
because they'd just taken over my CBA loan, a 20K personal loan,
Yep.
which I wasn't making repayments on,
Yep.
demanding that I pay them 20K today.
True.
Then the door knock.
Fuck,
And then
yeah,
that
so-
conversation. So Dad's like, son,
Yep.
I know you're doing it tough,
Yep.
Yeah.
but it's all going to work out. Just, you will be all right. It will all work out.
How old were you at this point?
24, 25,
Yeah.
feeling like an absolute fuck up.
Yeah, because you're at
That is that age where you sort of should feel like you do have a little bit of the ball rolling by now,
And
which
for
most
me-
of us didn't.
Yeah, I think it's more of at that age you feel that's what should be happening.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
You're like, I need to get my shit
Yeah.
together, dude. I
Yeah.
can't even
20
fucking pay my phone bill.
Between 23 and 25 for like for all men, in my opinion, is like pivotal.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
you're starting to see things differently.
Yep.
You've got a more mature sense of
Yep.
brain development. I think at 23, you say your brain for males is like the most developed at 23.
I think
Well, I
so.
Women-
fucked up there, didn't I?
You just cooked it while you're fucking.
I don't know the stats, so don't quote me on it, but women is a lot earlier.
Yeah, definitely.
They're a lot sharper earlier.
Yep.
We're dumb cunts for a lot
Yeah.
longer,
Yep.
typically.
Yep. And I think, like you said, that's that time where it almost goes, "Pff, oh shit, I'm a dumb cunt.
Yeah, You look in the
What
mirror.
the fuck have I been? I'll just be running around with me fucking dick in me hand, fucking headbutting things. You know what I mean? And then you're like, chill out, brother.
It's literally a look in the mirror moment. Like,
Yes.
what the fuck are you doing with your life?
Life, yeah.
Had one of those during that time as well.
Yep.
And funnily enough, I remember this to this day. I had $110 in my bank account, qualified plumber, blah, 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 living at home with dad, in debt to me eyeballs. A lot of commitments I'd had from when I was a plumber on wages.
Yep.
That's why I was able to get those
Course.
types of
Yep.
loans.
Yep.
And then I just took that huge risk of, look, I'll just make it work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clearly didn't.
Yep.
And so I saw an ad pop up on Facebook and it was like, attention personal trainers.
Yep.
If you had 10 more clients in your business, what would that mean to you every week in dollar value?
Yep.
I'm like, okay, if I'm charging $100 a week for say 2 sessions each, that's a bit of a package.
Yep.
And I have 10 people, I'm like, that's $1,000.
Yep.
To me right now, that gets rid of all of my fucking
That's
issues.
That's gold.
I can get on top of that.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
start to get on top again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was $97 for this course. It was a 4-week course. And I
And you had 110.
$110 in my bank account. And my mindset at the time was, I've already got nothing, so what the fuck do you have to lose?
Yeah, that's a yep.
And I went, bang, I paid for it. I became really good friends with the guy who was running the course and his team. I went from just wanting to do a PT to then, at the time before I met him, the goal was to get into full-time firefighting.
Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot you're a firefighter too. Yeah.
Yeah, I volunteered since I was like 16.
Yeah. So we'll probably get into that.
Cool.
Yeah, I know fully. I forgot to write that one down. Fuck.
I don't do a whole lot anymore, obviously time, and then I don't live in the area. But
Yep.
was a big part of my life when I lived back home.
Yep.
And that was the plan. So then all of a sudden, hang on a minute, if I can scale this here with a couple of people in Gisborne, surely I could just open up a gym and use this same model and just scale it.
Yes.
Yep.
So I did that. I had the plan, put the plan in place.
So you were obviously you once you'd done that course, you were just PTing for a bit.
Yep.
You got the ball rolling. You got the
Full-time
game
PT.
down, if you know
Yep.
what I mean.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you were like, okay, I'm gonna run the ball up.
Back
yeah,
full-time
word.
PT, and I grew it within 12 weeks. I think I was doing like 2.5, 3K a week.
Fuck.
And I was
Killer.
like, fuck, I'm like, this is working, you know?
Yeah.
But typical me, the guy that leaves fucking year 10,
Yeah.
wants the bigger picture tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, how do I scale this? Have other personal trainers working for me so I can create that life where, you know, I'm not the main cog in the wheel for the business, but it can run and I can provide a better service because I have more staff and access to more people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wanted to create like a large scale gym
Yep.
for what I was doing because no one was training people the way that we were in our area.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I was doing group training, but with proper functional movement, no fad bullshit stuff, no F45 style
Yeah,
training,
yes.
no, none of that nonsense. All stuff that is still and will always be the king of movements for the human body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sick.
The 7 planes of movement, we trained them in all our workouts. The result of that with a decent nutrition plan was my clients got great results.
Yep.
See,
Got great results. I'm like, yep, let's go. Let's fucking open
I
the
have
gym.
to come and see you.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
to put it out there like I do. I'm at that point in my life.
And so I went up to the factories in New Gisborne, the new industrial estate, looking around for factories to lease. One on the corner, had a number, rang it. Yep, no worries. Put a deposit down, $500. I'm like, okay. Just signed a lease.
Yep.
The money I was making was good, but it was also paying off all these debts I had.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
still technically didn't really have a crack
So
at
you
some
weren't making money yet. It was still all going
No.
back into the hole that you dug.
I was still basically just break even and getting by.
Yep.
In hindsight, I probably should have done that for a little bit longer, built up a kitty and then gone, hey, now let's start a full-blown business.
Yep. Yep.
But brain wasn't quite there yet.
Yep. We're here now.
So anyway, big business plan. Wrote it all down really in depth. Did all the numbers. Met some really great people. Went to the bank. Here's my plan. I said, "Yep, I want 30K just to get this started, working capital." The guy in the bank laughed me out the door. He's just like, "You have not put enough thought into this. This is ridiculous. This is not going to work."
I feel you. I mean, laughed out the back doors for the last 15 fucking years. They're like, bro,
Fuck
you're
them guys
tripping,
anyway.
cunt. You're tripping. You ain't getting any money off us, dude. You fucking tripping artist, fucking dickhead. But anyway, keep moving.
But when I look back at it now, he was spot on.
Yeah, cool.
Had
Yeah,
no
you do
fucking
get
idea.
it.
My numbers were way off.
Yep.
Because he'd calculated I needed about 80 to 90K and he was bang on.
Yep.
Because I've redone the numbers today. I'm like, fuck that motherfucker.
He was right.
Why don't you just tell me? And change some things, you know?
Help me out here, man.
Yeah, like,
Just
fuck you
shut
know.
me down and kick me out.
So
Classic.
anyway, for 30K, still having good tax return numbers from when I was a plumber because I hadn't done my next ones yet.
Yep.
I think some bank had a loophole that you could use tax returns for up to 2 years.
Right.
So I went in and the next day and said, I want to buy a new car. Secured or unsecured? I said, no, just do unsecured personal loan because I haven't quite decided which one it is yet.
Right.
Yep, what have you got? Yep, here's a tax return. Yep, beautiful. Okay, 30 grand in the account in 48
Isn't that
hours.
fucked?
Started the gym.
Yep.
Cracker.
So you didn't even buy the car, you just put it all into the gym.
Started the gym.
That's a smart man.
Well, I was
right
going to
there.
buy the car, but it fell through. So
Yeah, right. It's a good thing.
just saying that for...
I was going to say, you were never going to buy a car, man.
Okay, for what's it called? Yes, correct.
Probably another ZRO FUX moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based off a guy who I'd met, Greg Plitt, fitness industry. He ended up passing away filming a stunt running away from a train and he got collected by the train.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, but he's an American guy. You can look him up. If you ever need inspiration or like workout motivation, go and watch some of his videos. You'll be off your ass in 2 seconds.
Really?
He was so real.
What was his name again?
Greg Plitt.
All right,
Phenomenal, like motivational speaker.
cool. Yep.
He tells a story of when he was in like tip top condition, like 6%, 5% body fat, fucking lean, shredded, cover model type stuff.
Yep.
But no one would give him a look in for the magazines that he wanted to get into. So one of the magazines, I don't know what it was, they had an opening for like models to join their crew or where it worked, like I suppose like an audition.
Yep.
He went there and, but it was like you could only go there if you'd been like invited. So anyway, he rocked up and he's like, oh yeah, Jeff, my manager fucking told me to come down. And he's like, they're like, we don't have no Jeff. And he's like, oh, well, I'm here. Like fucking, you know,
Open the door.
bullshitted his way in.
Yep. Sick.
And they said, look, we'll get you in at the end. He sat there behind a queue of like 50 people, just waited all day until he was the last guy called, went in and they ended up shooting him for like 3 hours because his condition was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Wow.
He ended up being like #1 cover model.
True.
And I was just like, fuck, like sometimes you might just have to spin a bit of shit
Yep.
to get what you want.
Yep. 100%.
Providing you're not doing it in a narcissistic way. It's all for
Not hurting
positive.
anyone.
Yeah.
Not,
No, that's
not
right.
Taking,
Yep.
Yeah. That's like that old thing, you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So
Yep.
I took a bit of inspo from that and I'm like, well, if he's done it, and he was super successful, like online training platform into the millions, like crushing it.
Yep.
And he was like a bit of an aspiration for me with fitness early on. Like, you know, that's what I wanted to scale to.
Yep.
But yeah, cutting a long story short, that's how I started the gym.
Yep.
With 30K, that capital dried up in like 4 weeks. I was just like, okay, this is going to be a bit harder than I thought. Hustled through that, bared all the COVID stuff being locked down for so long and
I was gonna
restricted
say.
on our capacities with how much we could operate.
Did you
and
only have the
everything.
one gym?
Just the one, yeah.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I sort of thought you might have jumped onto two. Or did you like
I
go to
was-
a bigger one or something?
We went to a bigger one, yeah.
Yeah.
So when we got locked down, the guy that was in the factory 2 doors down, he left and it was double the size.
Yep.
And I'm kind of like, if I'm ever going to grow the gym bigger, because I was already capped with where it was size-wise,
Yep.
this is the perfect opportunity to do it because everything's shut down. I got time to
And
move
it's next door.
It was next door. It was literally just put shit on a trailer and walked it or put it on a trailer and just rolled it over if it was heavy.
Nice.
It was just like, this was the best opportunity to get. Pitched the landlords my idea. They were happy with it. And off we went. During lockdown, I fitted out a gym. Then I had no idea what I was going to be open.
Yep.
Yeah,
so that's what I was going to
fucking
ask next is
big.
like, you know,
I'm
In
just like,
that-
if I'm going down, I'm fucking going down swinging.
Yeah.
That was my mindset.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and in that time, like, that's a hard thing to do regardless, but in the ways of the world of that point, like I was going to say, you know, like, but you've kind of answered it. You've gone from a smaller into a bigger just next door. So the move wasn't anything like in the way of hard or anything like that. But to do that is difficult enough, let alone once you've got it set up to then roll it over and keep it rolling or get it started again to get the money flowing. In that time, fuck, man, like, is that something that you found super difficult? Or do you think if it wasn't those times that we were in,
Well,
it would have been easier?
there would have been times where you literally weren't even allowed to have business yet.
Well, insert clothing brand. So
Right.
started the brand in 2019.
Yep.
We got locked down in 2020. So I'd been trading for a year with the brand as well as the gym.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gym still at first location, obviously. Then I was getting a bit stale.
Yep.
I'm like, the only way for me to scale the gyms and create more is to have more gyms, more locations.
Yep.
I don't know if I wanted that much of a headache. I didn't.
Yeah.
It was nearly feasible, but I'm glad I didn't, because who knows how that lockdown situation would have ended for me.
Yeah, bad.
Majority of my mates that had 2+ gyms are all bankrupt now. They're all folded and gone.
Fuck.
So me having just one gym, I think a bit of a blessing that I didn't pursue that and then decided to maybe put more time and energy into the clothing brand.
Yep.
Kind of getting a little bit off track for, like, because the brand, how I started, that's pretty funny, that story too. I can try and roll it back. When I was doing online coaching and we had the gym,
Yep.
I had a lot of clients that were like, oh, I didn't go to the gym today because, you know, it might have been a bigger person there or a fitter person. I felt a bit intimidated, was a bit worried, you know, they were sort of judging me and whatever. I said, why do you give a fuck about what anyone thinks?
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yep.
2 weeks ago, you told me your goals.
Yeah.
Read them back to me. What are your goals? I remember she said, I want to lose 6 kilos, get fit for my wedding, blah, blah, blah. I said, when's your wedding? 12 weeks away. I said, if you are worried about what other people think, do you think you're going to be able to get to your wedding and be in the shape that you want to be in?
Yep.
She's like, no. I said, well, there you go. Zero fucks.
Yep.
Zero fucks about what anyone thinks,
Yep.
because your goals do not fucking care.
Yep. Yep.
You just have to go and send it.
Yep. 100%.
So for all you know, they could be sitting there looking at you going, fuck that, how's this chick coming in having a go at that? I don't even do that.
Yep.
But it's like I said before, it's just our own head has created that story,
Yep.
which is how we're wired. We're wired for comfort.
Yep.
Where our brains are wired to keep us in this comfort zone, keep us safe.
Yep.
Yes.
That's why we're constantly challenging that.
Yep.
That's where zero fucks comes in.
Yeah, definitely.
So I had the idea, created a few designs. I bought 100 plain white t-shirts, 50 men's, 50 women's, 10 of each size, from small to 2XL, I think it is. I sent them to a printer out in Geelong. He goes, yep, they'll be about 3 weeks. I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. I was pretty keen to get it going. So I had a couple of days off from the gym. I'm like, I just need to have a bit of a break. I went out to Rosebud. My nan lived down there at the time. Took the boat out. I was out fishing in the bay, and I get a text message. He's like, hey, your teas are ready. This was like 4 days later. I was like, fuck, I thought this was going to be like 3 weeks.
Sick. Always good.
So I just fucking pulled the rods in, hooked the boat in, hooked the boat into the boat.
Where'd you say he was? Geelong? You could have almost met him on the shore. How good were the first pickup, like on the beach?
It was nearly like that. Booted the boat to the boat ramp, hooked her up, took her in, quickly washed it down. Looked at the ferry times from Sorrento to Queenscliff.
Yep.
And there was one in like 20 minutes. I just fucking booted it to Sorrento onto the ferry.
That's gold.
If it's meant to happen, it's meant to
that's
happen.
fucking real shit.
Whilst I'm on the ferry, I'm on my laptop. I'm talking to my VA who used to assist me with things online.
Yep.
I'm like, look, teas are ready. Like, I need to create a Shopify store. It's got to look like this, blah, 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 blah. I gave her a few specs. She's building that. I'm on the ferry. Get off the ferry, go to Geelong, pick up the teas. As soon as I get the teas, I take a photo of a flat lay and send it to her.
Yep.
On my drive back from Geelong to Essendon to where I was living, she'd built out the store and uploaded our flat lays in that time.
Fuck, that is
Pumping
fucking...
And
through.
I posted on my Insta, teas are ready, made our first few sales that night. That's how the brand started.
True.
Yeah, right.
Fuck yeah, dude. That is fucking impressive.
Yeah, man. No fucking around.
Yeah, that's sick,
Yeah,
bro.
it was just hell for leather. So the first 8 months of that were pretty quiet once the sales dropped off from my following, because it's only going to get you so far, like the reach that you have, unless you can get either increase the reach or tap into other resources.
Yep.
which is where digital marketing, Facebook ads, I learned a lot of that through when I first started the personal training, that 4-week course. A lot of that was around marketing.
Right.
Implemented the similar skills for the brand.
Yep.
Selling a product's completely different than selling a service. So I had
100%,
no idea what the fuck I was doing, and actually trying to get someone to actually purchase from something they've seen online, as opposed to giving you their name and number and you give them a call, have a chat with them, they come down, meet you, and then sign up for your services.
Yeah. And an actual, like you said, it's an actual service. You're getting something out of it. Clothing and products. What's this T-shirt going to actually do for me? Which, I know a lot about. But yeah, I think, if it was an actual product that is like, oh, this is useful, I use it every day, it's good. But like things like clothing are very... You need to build a community. And like you said, at the start it would have been hot because you would have had your following. And then it all falls off because everyone's got a T-shirt now. And then you need to find that new
Like
following.
T-shirts are a commodity.
Correct.
The thing we have going for us is the brand name. ZRO FUX. If people relate to that straight away, it's a purchase straight off the bat. If they're not quite sure, then there's a whole probably 30 days of learnings about the brand education through different funnels that you get tagged in to educate you on who we are and what we actually stand for. Once you understand it, people then go, oh, fuck, I like that. Because it happens to a lot of people that don't understand the brand. And then when they do, all of a sudden they completely change and they'll spend fucking $400 in your store. So there's a whole education process behind it as well as building a community. But yeah, so we really had traction. When was it? October, November, December, January, February 2019. Huge for the brand, like really growing. Going to like Arnold's Classic Fitness Expos, like with booths type stuff. Insert,
you did a bit of that booth sort of style stuff.
Insert lockdown. Insert Arnold's not going ahead anymore. And insert me spending all of our cash on stock for the expo that's now not going ahead.
Fucking hell, man.
So I've had my fair share of rinsings.
But it's part of it, though.
It is.
Right? If you're not getting fucked,
it's the only way to learn.
Hard.
It's the only way to learn.
The fact that you're still here and you're doing it still and you're talking about
That's
it. Because there's so many people, as you say before, that, mates of yours had one extra gym that are now bankrupt, no longer doing anything. And it's also the drive in the person too. Like, you can tell you're a driven dude and you're not going to let something get in your way. And if it does, I'll go around it, over it, under it.
Absolutely.
I'll figure it out.
You got to be willing to find a way. And I read a book. I mean, going back when I was going through that really tough time and, was struggling financially and whatnot. And I exited from like party life groups because I knew it wasn't serving me anymore. It was only going to make my situation worse. Too much ego to tell them, hey, I can't come out because I actually don't have any money. No, I can't come down to the pub because I actually don't have $5 for a pot. No way you was going to say that. It was just because, I'm killing it. I'm doing really well. But I'm just not doing that anymore. That's what you want people to think. And I was reading a book at the time. Mind you, in school, never read a book. Books can get fucked, they're gay, all that shit. Like, not interested in reading a book. I picked up this one book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It's about a lawyer, hotshot lawyer from the States who had all the money and the wealth that you could ever want, but was that stressed he had a heart attack and nearly died because of his workload. So then he just jumped on a plane after that. He was lucky to survive. I think it's a made-up story. Jumped on a plane, flew to the Himalayas and spent however many months with the monks living in the mountains that literally don't use currencies and bits and pieces. And they meditate and journal and they do gratitude and affirmations and all that. I started doing that stuff. And that was really challenging for me because I was doing things that were good for me, but yet everything was going so wrong for me on the other side, financially and career-wise. And I watched a video the other day from a guy and he was saying that whenever you're starting a new life, it costs you your old one. And that like hit so true for that time that I was going through. And I just kept working through. But there was another book I was reading by Robert Kiyosaki. I can't remember what it's called. It will come to me. Anyway, he talks about like your language that we use. And whenever you say I can't do something, your brain just switches off. So if someone says, hey, I've got a Ferrari for you, Borgs, you can have it for 50 grand, but I can't afford it. It's just like,
gone.
Forgotten about.
That's it.
Get rid of it.
But if you were to sit there and say, how can I afford it?
how can I make 50K? I want a Ferrari.
How can I make 50K?
Yep.
All of a sudden,
Yep.
you're racking your brain. How can I scramble 50K together
Yep.
to then sell that fucker for 200?
Yep.
Give them their 50K back.
That sounds like a good deal too. I'm even thinking, fuck, 50K for a Ferrari. I'll be able to sell some 50 fucking mini bikes and let's fuck, that's a
But
bargain.
that's how I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whenever I'm faced with something, it's
Yep.
never a matter of I can't or this doesn't,
Yeah.
whatever. It's never a matter of I can't. It's a matter of how can I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I
It's
think
all
too,
mindset.
that is
definitely.
very, you do have to train your brain to do that. Like we're
It's
so
fucking hard.
ingrained to
Yeah.
be like, no,
Yep.
no, we can't do that. Can't. That like
Comfort.
you really need to like train your brain to be the opposite. You know, like it's hard to
Be
be like.
comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. It's
That's hard.
it's a bit of a fucking shot, and you can
Training,
tell.
training yourself to change the way that you think is one of the hardest things that I had to go through.
100%.
Same, man. Ever.
Yep.
Like proper
Yep.
hardest thing.
But has the most benefits now.
Yep.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Like sometimes I still catch myself like you know, like oh, if I make a movie one day, no, when I make a
Yeah,
movie.
when
Yeah.
Like I constantly correct myself too. And even if it's to the point now where it's like crazy, even I'm sort of like, I'm taking the piss a little bit, but like, you know, when I got my millions, if I get, it's like I start off with, if I make a millions, no, when I get those millions, when?
Yeah.
When?
And be specific. It's
Yes.
how many millions do
Yes.
you want?
Yes.
Yep.
Could be 200, 300, 500, billionaire, whatever.
Yep.
Because if you come in with that mindset, it's when I make my 400 million.
Yes.
If you fuck it up by half, you're still making 200.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So, yeah,
And that's the way. That's another perfect example of how to look at things.
yep.
All
Like-
perception.
Like if
100%.
you're trying to get fucking just $1 million, I'm aiming for $1 million, and you fail but only get $500,000, bruh, you still got $500,000.
Yeah. If
And
you're
it's-
if you're
But
driving
if you don't
around,
do it at all, then you're not going to get anything.
yeah, I
Yeah.
find that when I'm driving around is when I'm most active in my thoughts.
Fuck yeah, bro.
And that's when
You
it's
travel.
so critical about how you talk to yourself.
Yes.
Because a lot of 99% of people would just be sitting there bashing themselves.
Yep.
Or thinking
Yep.
about something that they haven't done or should have done. All these would have, should have, what ifs, bulls, just running
Or lying to
your
themselves.
day.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And they just run your day.
Yep.
They are running your life. So you're not even in control. You're not even you're in the driver's seat.
But
You
you're not
just
doing
flick
it.
cruise on.
Yep.
The brain's just going, yeah, let's loop all this shit.
Yep.
Keep him fucking in anxiety and depression and keep him
Yes.
fucking around because I like it when he has a beer and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
It starts this loop of,
Shitness.
just behaviors.
Yep.
Yeah, bro.
And if when you're in that driver's seat and you're actually like, I'm going to be conscious of my thoughts, man, that's where the breakthroughs were happening for me because
Yeah,
I was
man.
realizing the amount of shit that I was saying to myself.
Yes.
And now when I catch myself, it's just a matter of like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Yep.
Fucking
And
oath,
I
dude.
literally in the last
Yep.
3 weeks had lived that just in what I've personally got going on in a way of like, and as you say, it's so hard to keep conscious on this, to pull yourself up when you have these thoughts, because it's like, all right, the bone's not healing, you're in this position, you can move the fuck on. Okay, cool. And then it goes to, all right, well, I'm gonna get back out in the workshop and do this and do that. All right, cool, that's good. Comes to that point, and even without being in a shitty situation, it's just how we're wired, the human fucking brain. It's instead of going, oh, fuck, I've got to go out there and fucking work on that bike.
Yep.
It's, no, I get to go out there
Yes.
and do what I love doing.
Because I couldn't 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
In a nutshell, sort of.
there's
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
because I couldn't. But regardless, even if I could, no matter what, like even if it's like, hey Matt, can you go down and grab bread and milk and fucking some corn from the shops for me?
Yep.
Instead of it being like, fuck, no worries, babe. I get to go and do this.
Yeah.
Always I'm trying to stay on that positive, and it's again hard as hell, but
Yep.
it then paints everything else to be so much, I don't know, easier, clearer, better. I don't know what it is.
It does because
yeah,
you're
yeah.
coming from a place of gratitude now.
Yes.
Well,
because
that's-
you're grateful that you've got the ability to do that.
Yep.
And one thing I found whenever I'd get a negative thought, I would recognize it. I would picture it that it's come across as like a PowerPoint slide.
Yep.
on a projector
Yeah,
screen.
Yeah.
And I grab the fucker and I put it in the trash can.
Yeah.
And then I right click
Next
and
slide.
empty
Empty
recycle bin.
recycle bin.
And then now
Windows.
that now it's gone, then I think of 3 things I'm grateful for in that present moment.
Yep.
So it could be like, I'm grateful. Like if I'm driving, I'm grateful for this car. I'm
Yep.
grateful I got fuel.
Yep.
I'm grateful for this beautiful day if the sun was out.
Yep.
If the sun wasn't out, I'm definitely not grateful. But
Yeah.
I'll
That's-
find something else. But
That sounds so easy to do, but it's so difficult.
Yeah,
It
like
is,
to
and
say it out loud.
it's repetition. It's like
Yes.
you go to the gym, you do 10 bicep curls, whatever. It's repetition. They're growing.
Yep.
The brain is the same.
Yep.
It's
Same.
repetition. If
Yep.
you're not training the brain in that mindset,
Yep.
it will just stay the same.
But it is so hard to train the brain into that mindset, positive, moving forward, reaching goals, all the above. That is so difficult comparing to letting the brain wander, and it will point you in directions without you going, no, hang on a minute, pulling it up. And that's, I guess, what the difficult part is. Most people get content and they're just like, oh, okay, well, I've had this thought and this is what I got to do.
Yeah.
Pull back from that. And it's like, no, if
Yep.
you go against it or do, yeah,
Because a lot of our thoughts and our processes that happen on a cognitive basis are all schizophrenic.
Yeah.
They are so sporadic. You got to slow that shit down.
Yep.
One thing I learned with a guy I used to work with was he brought me right back to my core values.
Yep.
He's like, what are your character traits? What makes your character?
Yep.
What are these values that make up your character? Like, what are your character traits?
Yep.
I want you to think of 3 of them.
Yep.
It took me so long to dial it in. I ended up coming up with integrity, courage, and resilience.
Yep.
And those 3 values were basically now how I make decisions.
Yeah.
And integrity starts with I, courage C, resilience R. So ICR is like the acronym for it.
Yep.
Whenever I'm feeling a little lost, even if I can't sleep, this is really interesting.
Yep.
If I'm really busy in the mind, I can't sleep, I just think of my values and I think of how I apply my values to the brand, and through the lens of the brand, how does integrity look? Through the lens of the brand, how does resilience look?
Yep.
And the same with courage.
Yeah, yeah.
I end up falling asleep in like 2 seconds. Like I'm out.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because when the mind is coming from a place of truth is when it's at rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just you're just straight out. It's unbelievable.
Interesting.
But I now approach all decisions around integrity, resilience, and courage.
Yeah.
And that is the basis of how I perform and make decisions
Is
in
all
business.
of this that you're saying on the things that you've learnt over the time of just that sleep part, I guess? You've explained so many other things that you do personally because you know they work for you. Is that just from living and learning and staying very self-conscious of the things you do and what works and what doesn't? Or did you have some sort of someone there to point you in a direction or say, hey, maybe if you look at things like this, you might get a different or a better outcome? Or was that just you being resilient and hard and continuing on and just push to then figure out what you are now?
I have worked with a lot of mentors in my time.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a lot. I would probably say four,
Yeah.
Yep.
which is probably a lot because people go
Yeah,
through life
yeah.
not even having one.
One,
Yeah.
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 I forget my, obviously parents as well. So probably 5 really good mentors who I take advice from. They've all helped me and shaped me with these ways, or because they've been in the same situations before.
Yes.
Because until you're aware of these things, you are just in your own mind and you just going.
Yep.
You get to this point eventually where it doesn't matter how much money or success you've had, you will have this feeling of, still feel a bit lost.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was where I got to recently,
Yep.
where I was like, fuck, we're doing so well. The brand's crushing it, et cetera, et cetera.
Why aren't I
Life was
content?
good. I'm like, why can't I fucking just get this right? Like,
Yep.
and it's hard to explain until you
It's
go
like there's
through
always
it.
you always want more. Is that sort of like that vibe? Well, there's always
it's-
more to be had.
It's a feeling of feeling lost.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
what's right?
Yeah.
Why, how are you lost when you don't know what right is?
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's why when I spoke to this guy and he brought me back to my values, everything made sense.
Yep.
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 And when you said to me early on, I am a reflection of my brand,
Yep.
from my stories.
Yep.
I never realized that until working with this guy recently, till we unpacked the values. And he's like, you realize that's what your brand is.
That's what, yeah, exactly,
And I
man.
was like, fuck. this is easy.
Once it all clicks.
Why am I
you see
complicating
that,
everything?
Yeah. Why am I making this so hard? Like
Yeah.
you are the issue. We are our own problems.
Yeah.
And like you get to points where you outgrow certain things and you feel like you know it all. You're like sweet, and then you take the foot off the pedal of that and you just get back into grind mode, and then you hit another wall again and you're like, fuck, that didn't work. So you recoup back to the board and try again. I've been very much like that with business. Has been very blast and cruise. Like I'll go like fuck for 3 months and then I'll just take the foot off for a couple of weeks just to chill. That's how I found works best for me.
Yeah, I can
sure
semi-agree with that too. Like you were saying too, once you realise that those sort of 3 things about yourself, does that also bring you back into that like self-confidence thing to be like, well, I am those 3 things, and those 3 things are really positive things? Like, so it gives you that little bit of comfort. So you're not on that edge of like constantly chasing something, because you can sort of take yourself back and be like, well, no, I'm doing good. And these are 3 things that I do, and, it represents in the brand. And does that sort of make sense? Like, does that help you sit better at night in a sense? Like having that register to be like, fuck, I do have resilience. I do have all these things, and they're really good traits. So life's okay.
It does.
Sort of.
Yeah, it does. And if I'm picking up what you're throwing or catching what you're throwing, so to speak, it just makes everything simple again.
Yes, sort of. It breaks it back down.
It clarifies everything.
Yep.
There's no second guessing.
Yep.
It's like, these are your values. That's who you identify as.
Yep.
These are your traits.
Yep.
Through the lens of, like, if you're looking through the lens of integrity, like, what are moments in your life where integrity's popped up for you?
Yep.
You start rattling off a few things.
Yep.
How does it feel? You see this endorphin rush, like how it feels.
Yeah.
And then you do the same with courage and resilience.
Yep.
And then you just, it just grounds you again, just pulls you back to center.
Yeah,
and
sick.
it's back to what we spoke about again about repetition. It's doing that on a repetitive basis to bring you back to nearly to a point where you subconsciously, you're just running that program the whole time.
Yes.
Because before that, you're probably running 50 different programs about who we are.
Yeah.
And if you're not conscious aware of it, like I wasn't, I would do things that I was doing as the year 10 that left school and got his shirt signed and didn't even have anything, a reason to leave, like nothing locked in. And that would show up in my life now. And then when someone says to you, "Oh, that was a bit out of character for you," it's because it wasn't aligned with your values. You did something that you would have done, a decision that you would have made when you were, say, 16, 17 years old. But you're 35 now. You're not a little boy anymore leaving school.
Yeah, no, that is a fucking that's.
And I guess too, you've had all those. You're not that little boy at school anymore. You've had all these years that these people have watched you, build all these things, those 3 things that you say that you are that represent you best. And then when you go against or you don't, you do something completely different, people are going to fucking spot that, man.
Absolutely.
And it's like highlighted. Like, what has he just done there? That's fucking not him. It's like,
and it was like the COVID times, the gym was shut for like, probably, I think it was 8 to 12 months because we were regional, but restricted capacity on income for like 18 months.
Hectic.
And I was angry about it.
Yeah.
I was fucking angry about it because
I think there was a lot of anger in the air at that time.
Absolutely.
Because, there was the whole fight back.
Yeah, there was a lot going on. There was a
yeah.
lot going on. It's a
Fuck
multifaceted
yeah,
thing.
Yeah.
Probably don't want to dive into that one today.
It's not too deep into it.
But
long story short, like I started to flare up a little bit. I was using my followers and my voice online, and I was showing up, and I wasn't afraid of saying what I was saying.
Yep.
And that was just me being the angry boy that was losing money like I was when I was going through my hard times. And I was living that person again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, I'm back here.
Yeah, right.
And you just start putting that on repeat.
Do you think that had an effect?
Because it's familiar.
Do you think that had an
It's
effect
familiar.
on business?
So the familiar...
Correct. It's easy to slip back in.
That's right. The familiar feelings create the same response.
Yes.
Because it's wired into us.
Yes.
It's wired.
Yep.
You can change it. You can change how it's wired.
Yep.
100%.
It's an NLP tactic and it can be done.
Yep.
And it's pretty effective.
Yep. Yeah. Did you, coming out as that little bit of an angry boy again during those times, do you think that affected business?
Yep.
In because of the whole the two-way street that was happening at that time?
Yep.
50% went fuck you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it affected it negative.
Yeah.
Way, yeah.
The gym definitely got hit through. We had a lot of people that probably knew I was going through a bit of a rough time.
Yep.
And they were just supporting me, knowing who I was before
Yes.
going through a tough time.
Yep. Yep.
They knew it was out of character for me, but I feel like a lot of people just held that space for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whether they agreed with me or not, I don't know. I know a lot of them did. There was still some that we didn't see eye to eye with it, but they still supported us financially.
Yep.
But there were people that were just like, probably didn't know me or my story. They were happy to just be like, nah, cancel my membership. Or, yep, happy to give you a shit review on your Facebook page and bring you down, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yep.
there was a big slog in building back credibility through there.
Yep.
One that I nearly just wasn't prepared to do.
Yep.
But financially, we were in the hole. I had no choice.
Yep.
It's like I have to show up for this thing and keep building it to a point where I can exit from it and
Yep.
be happy with my exit
Yep.
and move on to focus just on the brand,
Yep.
which is what I did in May this year.
I was going to say, so yeah, you're not running that gym anymore, right? You
No,
sold
Yeah, hands off there.
Yep.
Sold
sold
to-
it completely?
Yeah, sold completely to the manager there.
Yep.
Cool.
He's doing a great job. And
That's cool.
for myself, with my family, it's just been so much better having one business to focus on
Yep.
yeah.
and just give me that laser focus, and started to do a bit more work on myself because, you know, when you're busy,
I was gonna
not
say,
doing a lot of work on yourself, you're just coasting. It's when times are quiet, you're sitting in there by yourself and you start
Yes.
asking questions and you're like, oh, fuck, I've got some work to do.
Yeah.
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 And that's the hardest work out of any work you can do on this planet.
And only you can do it.
Yep.
That's exactly right. No one else gives a fuck, and no one else should give a fuck because they got their own work to do.
That's it.
And that is, difficult. People reckon that they've got a hard job, or they're doing it hard because they've got to get up at 4 a.m. every morning, or whatever it may be.
That was what I realised with lockdown was a lot of people would just be complaining they couldn't go and get a coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, my gym's down 70% revenue.
Yeah.
You just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one
You're
cares.
worried about a $3
I'm
coffee.
like, no one gives a fuck.
Yep.
Yep.
In that time, just out of curiosity, there was a midpoint in 2020 where everyone got a little bit of the boost kickback deal. Did the brand hit a peak there?
We had momentum anyway.
Yeah.
So the brand was just doing its thing.
Right.
The only downside of all of that was the profit we were generating there was keeping the gym alive.
Right.
So I had
Yeah,
good
okay.
momentum, doing really well. And then because
all
I
just
decided to
straight
do
back
the
in.
big fit out of the new gym and we moved, I'm like, fuck it. This is as much as it gets to like going all risk, balls on the line. This is it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know when we were going to be able to open the doors.
Yeah. So
Let alone-
lucky that you had that other avenue
Well, that's that's
Yeah.
what, like,
to be
'cause
able to pay for that other venture.
Yep.
like in
Yeah.
mid. I think it was just after mid 2020. Would have been, yeah. Like I had like the biggest fucking spike I'd had in just because everyone was sitting at home, they were doing nothing. They just got this chunk of money.
Yep.
We were really
We were pumping shit.
consistent in content and that, so we were in front of everyone's faces, and everything just sort of like peaked, and like
It
that's sort of
definitely
why I said
helped.
it probably saved the fact that you had that other side hustle going on. It just was enough to keep everything fucking paid and moving, and
Yeah. It definitely helped.
yeah,
What I would say is that once you get into the bit of a business world and you start looking externally as well, like looking at charts and how companies performing are in America and what the Fed's doing over there with interest rates and how that impacts the RBA and what we do here and
Yep.
the IMF and the decisions they're making, right down to who the president is in America and how much that fucking influences what happens here in Australia is
Yes.
just on a whole another level if you're attuned to it.
yep,
Yeah.
Was as soon as the Fed announced that they were tightening up in America and starting to raise interest rates,
yep,
I noticed a hit almost within the next week.
True, yeah.
yeah, right,
Cash was just, everyone was just like, nah, that's it.
yep,
Stop buying dumb shit.
Yep.
Stop buying stuff you don't need.
yep,
Don't need another ZRO FUX hoodie. I bought one last month.
Yep.
Whereas before we were just dropping a new hoodie every month.
Yep.
And we just repeat buy every single time. It's just,
yeah, right,
so yeah, definitely impacted it. But I think just as a global sentiment, as soon as those interest rates started getting spiked in America, that was
Yep.
that was the green light for, you got to pull back.
Yeah, it's definitely, even I've felt that in the last sort of year or so, maybe. Not even a full year. But within the last, 8 months or so,
Yep.
everything's really gone unless we need it.
That's
we ain't
in
getting it.
everything.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And even just talking to, fucking the pizza shop down the road, talking to you, talking to anyone, everyone's like, even just fucking tradies. They're all
Yep.
everyone's a bit scared right now.
Yep.
And they're not just fucking,
No.
which, again, I feel I'm on the same sort of boat. Everyone's in that fucking situation. But I guess that's just part of that whole, you just got to be smart. Hopefully your fingers are in the right pies and all that sort of stuff. And
Riding the waves.
yeah.
And there's always a way.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
Yeah.
I mean, they dropped their rates, last month in America. So
Yep.
typically a 3 lag to Australia, so a 3-month lag.
Yep.
So yeah, hopefully by December,
We'll be sort of back up a little
things
bit.
should start to be turning again. But
Yep.
who knows? All speculation.
Anything could happen. There's an election very soon, yeah? When is that
Yeah,
election?
November.
Yeah. That could change everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it is. It's just, you've just got to keep trucking along. So anyway, long story short, recently you've sold the business, you sold the gym. Now it's all just brand.
Yep.
How do you plan on obviously, because you don't have the gym there and you're taking up your time, is there more implementing into the brand now?
Massively.
Yep.
Massively.
What sort of thing? What are you doing? What's the rundown of that sort of?
Like what a day looks like for me, or
Yeah, or just main goals, I guess. How are you implementing things? How's it all running? Yeah, how do you keep it above board, especially in these times at the moment where people don't want to buy a t-shirt?
yeah, you've just got to stand out.
Yep.
But I think, especially for founders with brands that have got a face to the brand, you're more likely to maybe not do really, really well and succeed immensely in a tough time economically.
Yep.
But you will survive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm seeing across the board.
Yep.
Brands where the founder shows up,
Yep.
the community is there for the founder. They see what's going on a bit behind the scenes. They know his or her story.
Yep.
You'll sort of always survive, providing that your collections and your drops are still hitting the mark for
Yep.
what your audience wants.
Yep.
But yeah, just being able to think fast and, okay, this isn't working. What can we do now? And
Yes.
it's just test, try. And there's just so many different things. You just literally just picking up mud off the ground, just throwing it at the wall and just
You
see
have
what
to
sticks.
So I've been saying for you, bro. Once I had that click, it's it's just throw shit at a wall and something's gonna stick.
Eventually.
And
And it's realizing that with a brand, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your designs.
yes,
The other 80% of stuff you design is basically shit. Your
yep,
audience doesn't really like it,
yep,
but they tack it on with your best seller.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you create 10 designs, 8 of them aren't going to sell through.
yep,
2 of them will be winners,
yep.
typically speaking.
That's I can.
So for people that are
definitely agree with
stuck,
that.
you probably need to create more.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Have
that's-
more variety.
And that's what we're at now. We're
Yep.
we are pushing out a heap more creative. We are
Yep.
pushing out a lot newer designs, different style.
Yep.
Some that are just really loud and bold, some that are really small, and
Yep.
we're just seeing what's going to hit the mark. And then once you get a winner, then we scale the winner. Then
Yep.
we work out, okay, how do we increase the average order value now? How can we provide something to increase the total cart transaction
Yep.
instead of just, the one T-shirt?
Yep.
Because back before things got shut down, we would average about 6 to, depending on what it is, but anywhere between $6 to $10 for a conversion on Facebook.
Yep.
So let's say, I'll just talk round numbers to make it easy. Let's say you got $10 for your marketing cost. Let's say your T-shirt costs you $10 to buy and print.
Yep.
Then it's going to cost you your time to fulfill it, because you're probably doing it your own at that stage.
Yep.
Your shipping's back then it was $6.
Yep.
I think we were charging $5, so we were absorbing $1.
Yep.
So if you sell one T-shirt for $50, you're still making anywhere between $16 and $20 from
Yep.
one T.
Yep.
When you scale that, and now you have a warehouse and a factory offices like that we do, and you have staff,
Yep.
all of a sudden straight away your operating costs are about 50%. So the $50 t-shirt now has an operating cost of $25 before you start.
Yep.
Our Facebook costs have gone up by about 500-600%. So it now costs us about $30 to $40 to acquire a customer or a purchase on Facebook.
Yeah, right.
It used to cost us anywhere between $6 and $10.
Yep.
Interesting.
So if you've got a $25 OPEX on a $50 t-shirt and you've now got a $40 marketing acquisition cost,
Yep. You're not making money.
you're in the red for selling one t-shirt.
Which goes back to what you were saying on trying to implement buying multiples.
Yep.
Coming in, filling the cart,
It's
grabbing
working
a
out.
pair of pants, a jumper, and a hat.
Yep.
Get
Yep.
out.
It's working out. What's the average order value we need to be at
Yep.
to actually be profitable?
Yep.
Because it's not profitable for us online to sell one t-shirt to someone.
Yep.
I lose money on one t-shirt.
Yep, for sure.
It's crazy.
Going back to what are you at with like staff, warehouse? What do you sit? What's your structure like that?
Yeah, we have part-time pick packer, a full-time warehouse manager,
Yep.
and our warehouse and office are together
Yep.
in Keilor Park.
Yep.
It's about a 300 square meter factory
I was
there.
going to say, big kind of deal.
Yeah, pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And you could see yourself needing more space in time to come, or is that
Yep.
pretty good?
Yeah, look, where we are, it's funny because when things slow down, you're like, fuck, I don't need half this space.
Yep.
Then when they ramp up, you're like, fuck, we need more space.
Yeah.
So you
Bad.
kind of just got to
feel
tell
ya.
yourself to shut the fuck up. It'll be right. Just keep going.
When the time's right, the time's right. We know when the time's right.
Yeah.
fully,
So
bro.
we've still got lots of room we can utilize to get the best out of
Yep.
where we are. I'd probably get another 2 years out of it,
Yep.
depending on scale.
Yeah, and you might have a peak that you just go, holy fuck, we've got to do it now. But
Yeah. And it really depends on your business operations and how you run and how you fulfill things.
yeah,
Now they're like, you can use a 3PL where you literally don't need a factory. You get all your stuff printed. They hold all the stock. They do everything for you.
Yep.
Yep.
The downfall of that is you have to get everything printed and then it's sitting on a pallet. So you got to outlay for inventory. So that's one.
And I
negative
think
side
the
of it.
downfall of that is what you were saying earlier is the transparency of that.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about your brand in your factory with your merch behind you
Yep.
sells way more than being like, got a new t-shirt, guys. I'm sort of standing in my living room.
Yeah.
It's that illusion of making it bigger than it, looking and feeling bigger than it really is that helps that push, I think.
It does.
And there's the trust in it. You don't know
so
what you're
when you
getting.
say,
If you can bring your product back, you can be like, I like this product. I'm going to sell it. If these other people are out there shipping this shit out that's fucking crap, that's not good for business.
what did
So
you
it's
call
it's
it?
3PL?
3PL.
Yeah, third party logistics.
Yeah. Okay. So that's very similar to. I can relate it to. I think it's called bunker branding. I think in the States.
Yeah. They do heaps of that
They
shit.
do heaps of like all the YouTubers.
Be
shit.
like me just fucking taking
Yep.
on everyone's work.
All the YouTubers merch, bunker branding do it, and then you got ShipStation that then fucking boost it all out, and
Yep.
the people that run those companies just aren't there. They stand back.
Yeah, so there'll be like a print on demand model.
Yeah.
The order will go through. They'll be like, we need 4 of those. They'll print them out.
Yep.
Then they'll get shipped.
Yep.
Yep.
And then they'll take their clip. The founder or the company that owns it might be left with like 30%.
Yep.
Yep.
And I feel like that's great if things are working. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like your brand, either has to get, you have to personally get it to a point where everyone's just sees it and knows it and loves it, all the above, to then for you to be no longer the face. Because if you haven't built it up to a point that's big enough or loved enough, that face then is dropped. Well, that's probably why majority of the people are there buying your stuff, is because you're there with your face on the front of it, or, you know, fronting it, advertising it, showing it, all the above, and then that gets dropped away and you haven't built it up enough, or everyone else is going to drop away and it's going to turn to shit.
For sure. I think the only way to combat that is if that's your plan, you're going to be the face, then you're going to step out. You've got to put faces in
Correct.
that are industry specific. Whether it's the gym, you've got to find the best fitness models that are going to wear your stuff on contract for like 12 months at a time. That are now the faces of the brand.
Yep.
They're everywhere. They get shown up, and then you can either sit back on the board, sit behind the doors and make different decisions on the board.
Yep.
But I think...
In this day and age, I don't think that's a good move.
I don't think so either.
You need to be the face of your brand or you're going to fucking flop.
I think you need to have both.
Yes, I definitely. I think you plus more,
Yep.
like, you know, you got your ambassadors and all that sort of stuff. I think that's great. But I really believe we're going into a time where even big business, if you ain't the front and there's no fucking face to it, you will not be trusted.
We'll look at Gymshark, Ben Francis.
Yep.
He stepped down as CEO, put another guy in. They grew so much, X amount. Now he's back in and they're growing again.
Yep. And I think
LSKD, Jace Daniel, CEO there. He's
Yep.
the face of the brand. He shows up every day. People love Jace. People love the brand.
Correct. It's and even just with everything, you know, you've got things like, for instance, Elon Musk, biggest sort of businessman in the world. We watch him. It's here. Whatever he does, whatever your views are, but that's the big picture of the transparency of a face to a brand. Like when we think Tesla, we think Elon.
Yep.
And that's the little bit of the selling point that it's like, again, like and the biggest thing for me is something like V Energy, right? They changed that flavor. All this shit happened. There was no one to hear. There was no one speaking it. There was no one saying we did this for this reason. And
giving
it
a
was just
reason.
like a press release.
Yeah, just
and
a
like,
board decision.
It makes you instantly go, fuck these guys, man. Like, it's just a mob of people. They're all just working. No one actually cares about this brand because I've been in businesses before. I know what goes on. No one gives a fuck apart from the owner. The front running dude that stands there and goes, I am the face of this. I put all this blood, sweat, and
everything
tears
into
into this shit. And, you know, I love the flavor of my V drink. That's why I keep it like this. Sick, mad. But if you're just like, oh, no, we'll just get our CEO to fucking do a little news conference for a fucking shitty magazine, you start going, dude, fuck these guys, man. I'm going to go support someone like Adrian and fucking Thingo with their new fucking, because I know who they are.
Yep.
They're two Aussie dudes that are having a crack, and that there is going to be the winning formula for the next 5 to 10 years. That transparency of brand owning and being the face of it, I think which is fucking crazy for me because I started MDP on faceless brand, bro.
Yeah.
I started the whole brand on I want to wear masks. I don't want a face to be like, if you're an ugly motherfucker, I want you to wear my shit. You don't want to be the fucking Mr. Like, I appreciate the art in modeling. It's sick to get a fucking, you know, an attractive male or female and rocking it sick. But the truth is, I always wanted that faceless of like, it doesn't matter who you are. Rep the shit and be who you are. It doesn't matter. When now I have to really...
Well, you hit a ceiling.
Correct. I mean, I'm really trying to like work it out. I'm still really trying to like push like the art of MDP and the brand to still be that gas mask, kooky, little bit out there. But at the same time, I'm still being like, right, I'm going to show you how to print this.
Yeah, you're
I'm
fronting
making
it all.
I'm making it all. But if you go over there and you're getting the advertising for it, it's a bit kooky. So it's like trying to juggle that to be...
It works because that's your identity. That's
And
how,
I think that's
how you're showing up.
Correct too. I think because and my
But
character
people are seeing, like,
works.
okay, this guy's
He's actually there doing it.
he's creative. He's got a, you know, he's
Yes.
having a bit of a laugh. He's very loud and out there.
Yep.
And then they're like, well, hang on a minute. Fuck, he's switched on, this guy. That's what
Yes.
he's doing. He's doing an 8-color print. I watched it the other day.
Yep.
He's setting up his screens and talking about how he's doing things. All of a sudden, it's like, fuck. Yeah, he's not just some larrikin wearing a mask.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's where you can always if I hold that right and I can almost sell that as my art. It's an art thing. Might Die is a bit arty, so of course the advertising is going to be a bit weird. You know, I'm not going to have that typical fucking, what would you call it, like some full-on fashion brand that is like proper in that. I'm going back to that like old school, you know, like in a fucking skate mag where it was a weird photo of like a dude with a horse head hanging upside down on a burning car. What is that? But it's an ad for fucking...
Etnies.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck, I don't know why, but I want an Etnies shoe now. You know what I mean? That's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. But like, that's what... And I always appreciated that art stuff. So that's where I'm sort of trying to tweak it into that. I'll still always front my brand and be like, this is what we're doing. This is what we've dropped. But then here's a little bit of art with that new drop or something like that to keep that ball rolling. But Yeah, the whole front thing I believe is a massive, and I've implemented it, and I know like it's the actual doing of it. Like I've implemented it and I've seen the outcome working, and you know, and you've probably done the same. And been like,
whatever feels organic. If it feels organic and you don't have to really push and try, I think that's the sweet spot.
Yeah,
So when you're sitting there and you're like, oh fuck, I've got to create content. Like, what the fuck am I going to do today?
yeah,
I don't think that's right.
yeah.
it feels yuck, it looks
you're not on
yuck,
brand.
it all is wrong.
And it's also, that's that point too, when you go too deep, that's where you start fucking up. You've got to almost take that step back and go, well, if you don't have it and you don't care, then just do something and just have a crack. And then it comes out a little bit more natural. And a lot of the time, they're those ones that almost end up hitting.
Yeah, you know when it's not right. It just feels off brand.
Yep.
And you'll probably be able to look back at that time where you created that and you're like, oh, that's when I was going through that.
And that's why.
That makes so
Reflection
much
of that.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, bro.
100%.
Fucking oath. How long have we been talking shit for? That's not bad. I fucking almost felt like it was a bit longer. I was like, we've been deep into this one. So anyway, we're pretty much there. It's obviously just you're pushing that brand hard now.
Yeah.
Actually, I was gonna. Do you get a lot of stuff offshore in that, or you get a lot of people printing stuff here? Because like you do a lot of like gym wear and all that sort of stuff.
The leggings and stuff, yeah, they're offshore.
Yep. Do you design all that? Is that all? How does that go about?
Yes and no. About 50% of it.
Yep.
Generally get a sample
Yep.
and then make your tweaks from there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the best way to do it is if that's the road you're going down, get a couple of samples of something that's sort of what you want.
Yep.
Get a feel of it and then be like, okay, I want this a little bit bigger. I want that longer. And then send it back to them. But that process of then going back and forth,
It's a long process.
it could take 6 months until you have a finished product.
100%.
And you're not you said leggings, so like you're not a chick.
No,
Like,
I can't just fucking try them on and be like,
them
oh
on.
yeah, these are great.
Yeah,
These
so
are
you
nice.
need at least five people to like give them out. Are these good?
Yep.
How do they run?
Yep.
How do they wear?
People that go to the gym and wear them and are gonna wear them. You got to.
Yep.
How do they feel?
That's
How do they-
time.
How do they wash?
Yep.
So they've got to be washed. You know,
Yep.
do they fall
Yep.
apart? All that stuff.
Yep.
But then a lot of stuff like tees and things like, yeah, we are getting printed here.
Yep.
And for the most part of what we do, I'm going to keep that as close as possible to 80% of everything that we do.
Yep. Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, sick. That's always good to know. Interesting. Because like I mean, I've had this. I don't really fuck with overseas shit. I've had a real good relationship with AS Color. I pretty much just like manipulate whatever they've made into my own sort of thing.
Yep.
But recently, I have sort of dabbled in a few sort of sample. You know what I mean? Right, again, send us this. All right, fucking 6 photos later, I'm like, yeah, change this, change that, change this, change that, change this, change that.
Yep.
Which is it's a definitely a longer process, but you step out into that next realm and you can start doing things that really.
And it just depends on your business model and what you want.
Yep.
Like, bloke's advice,
Yep.
I don't know if they still do, used to do a drop once a month.
Yep.
Sale window was open for 4 days. Until then, his website was just shut down. So it was only open for 4 days of the month.
Right.
Yeah, I would just post flat lays of designs just on a normal white T-shirt,
Yep.
probably an AS or something or other.
Yep.
Build hype.
Yep.
This is the thing like we're into now is building hype.
Yeah, I'm on the same tip.
Really, really like pumping what we're bringing out, what we're creating,
Yep.
what's about to drop.
Yep.
Not just here's an email, hey, just live now.
Yep.
Which I've been doing. I'm like,
I've been doing
it's
that for
doing
years.
well, but I'm like, it's not doing as well as it used to.
Yeah.
There's nothing will ever hit like the first drop.
Yep.
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 So now we're in this hype building phase to really get stuff out.
Yep.
If you can hype stuff up really, really well,
Yep.
and you've got some decent flat lay designs of what you're going to drop, yep, the window's open for 4 days. You're hyping this up for probably 2 weeks before you drop.
Yep.
2 week hype window, then you drop, open up for 4 days. On day 5, close your website again. Market on your site that you could have like shipping delays or a 10-day delay because you could do a pre-sale.
Yep.
So people are aware that it's a pre-sale item.
Yep.
If you don't have the cash up front to go and buy all that stuff, you just wait till the orders come in from the sales that have come through, go and buy your stock, get them printed, get them shipped out.
Yep. Definitely.
You can do models like that where there's a couple of printers in Australia that will do your fulfillment as well.
Yeah. Right.
So you could just send them all your stuff, get them printed, they do a fulfillment and send it out. All you've done is a hype phase and a marketing period. You don't even have a warehouse.
Being that
You
front.
don't have...
Yeah.
Like you've fronted it as such, and then somebody else has done everything else for you.
Yeah, they just do all the back end stuff.
Yeah.
You do all the initial front end work.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's another way you can build a brand
Yep.
without having to have a big warehouse. You have to hold 40, 50K worth of inventory just sitting on your shelves looking at it like, fuck.
Well, that was always my, I guess, like little head start is like now I'm slowly building a little bit of stock just so eventually I can open or do things and I can take stock. But my whole thing, I never sat on stock. I printed to all. Every time I got a T-shirt order, I'd come in and I'd print that one T-shirt. So I didn't have 50 fucking shirts lying around and all that sort of shit. And I think that definitely helped me for a long time. So I think if you can go into it, people get excited. They're like, I'm going to sell 150 shirts. Are you though? Are you, bro? Because, I mean, I print shirts for people, and trust me, those people that say that don't come back. Okay?
It's tough.
And that's the bottom line to it.
Why the fuck should I buy your brand?
Why
When
do
there's
I?
so much shit out
Why
there.
do I give a fuck about your brand? And that's the key to it. Once you have to, that's got to be your first thought. You can't
Well, it's
just
A,
be like,
I'm supporting the founder because I like him,
Yep.
or it's B, I like the brand and the message.
yeah, or it's visually attractive to me. It's the style or something like that. But if you don't hit one of those three, no one gives a fuck, dude.
Nah.
You're just another dude with a T-shirt. And then you've got this little hype around you because 90% of the time that happens and there's a bit of a crew and they all do things and they're like, and you think all these boys are going to fucking buy your shit and like none of them do. And then you're stuck with these fucking 90 jumpers that you thought you were going to fucking sell. And again, that's where it's like the best bet is to like test your market, do a pre-order, work out what's going on, see if they all sell and then move it like that, which is...
But again, that's starting, especially, not even in this day and age, but just starting something and having to do that and waiting the time and building that up.
Because everyone wants it today. Everyone wants to
Yeah.
be fucking...
But like people, I probably get 1 or 2 DMs a week about starting a brand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how long have you been sitting on this for? And they're like, I've had the idea for, sometimes it's like 5+ years. Sometimes it's they've just come up with it. Most of the time they've been sitting on it for over a year.
Yep.
Like, awesome. Show us your Insta page. I haven't built one yet.
Yeah.
Show
What
us
are
your
you
TikTok.
doing?
I haven't got one.
What are you doing?
What the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
That is your opportunity, your free business card
Yep.
to educate everyone about what your brand is, who you are, what you stand for, what the values are of the brand are,
Yep.
some potential designs, and maybe you working on samples and bits and pieces. Build the story, build the hype, then do your drop.
Yep.
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 People
Yeah.
just sit there going like, I've registered my business name.
Yeah.
And I've messaged such
like-
and such and asked the question about how to do a thing, but I haven't done anything to act on the thing, on the answers I got from that. But to them, that's, I'm doing something.
And I sat around on a Sunday morning with all my mates, coked off my brain, and they all said it was a sick idea.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Like, well, it is, but it is. You've really, people don't. And I think, maybe it's people like our fault. Maybe we make it look easy. Do you know what I mean? When we do this little bit
Just
of,
don't.
but it's fucking not.
Yeah,
It's the complete opposite, man.
It's not easy. I just don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Same. Same, dude.
That's all it
like
is.
That is the
Because
bottom line.
people will sit there thinking of every excuse under the sun why they shouldn't start.
Yes.
Haven't got the money.
Yep.
Do a pre-order. That's solved. What's your next problem?
Yep.
Haven't got time.
What's
Show
your
us your
next
screen
excuse?
time on your phone.
Yeah.
What's your fucking Netflix series you're watching every Sunday,
Yep.
every single night until 12 o'clock? You could be on your laptop sourcing, building a website for Shopify, which in my opinion, that's even still dumb shit. But if you're just starting out, do it so you sort of know the expectation of that task so you can handball it.
Yep.
But
That's
people
so
will
true.
just spend time on dumb shit, but
Yep.
everyone will just come up with excuses as to why they can't.
Yep. Oh, I need someone to design it. Can you design it for
And
me?
most of the
It's like-
time, maybe it's someone that has influence over them, whether it is family
Yep.
or a close friend. You've told them your idea and they've told you it's fucking stupid.
Yep.
Or they've told you it won't work, or they've tried it. I tried that once and fucking it failed.
Yep.
And they just don't want to see you succeed, so they'll just tell you don't do it. You're an idiot.
Correct.
And then they're just waiting for you to fall. So when it fucks up, they go,
Told ya. Yeah.
Whereas
100.
now
Had
I'm
this
like,
conversation
and I'm
a
just
bit.
like, my mindset now is like, sometimes I do shit because I know there's probably people out there wanting me to fall.
Yeah.
And I just
yeah.
fucking love proving cunts wrong.
Yeah.
yeah.
100%.
And that fuels my fire more than most things.
Yep. I can agree with
Aside
that
from
too.
wanting to create a life for my family that gives them everything that we need.
Yep.
Yeah, but you also need that little bit of fire there. So you use the
Yeah.
things that come your way.
Yeah.
You know?
And then your brand becomes a big part of that. Like I knew the brand had substance. Like I knew that people would relate to it in the way that I first saw it. I knew it would be strong and powerful if perceived in that light.
Yep.
Then we got an email 2020 in January, a woman wearing one of our tanks. Her niece bought it for her for Christmas.
Yep.
She hadn't left her house for 29 years.
Holy
She had
fuck.
What?
She had debilitating anxiety, just could not be outside, did not want to be seen in public.
Wow.
Her niece-
29 years.
29 years. Her niece bought her a tank top and she was outside for the first time in 29 years wearing her top fucking loud and proud because all of a sudden she didn't give a fuck anymore.
Wow.
And I
Due
was
to the
That's
top?
due to the top.
Big.
We've still got a review like on our site. You'll be able to find it. Like I had goosebumps like,
Yeah,
for
that's
hours.
sick.
And that's when I was really like, fuck. Now, every time someone comments something negative on the brand or something happens from like someone else, hanging shit on it, I just think of that and I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, your word
This
means
chick's just
nothing.
left her house for the
Yep.
first time in nearly 30 years.
That's massive.
I don't care you tell me my brand shit.
Yeah.
Good on ya. Go fucking wear something else. I don't
Yeah,
care.
I don't want you wearing
I'm not
my
standing
shit,
here
man.
saying, knocking on your door saying you must sign this to buy my shirt. I'm not
Yeah.
forcing you to buy it.
Yep.
You don't have to buy it.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But you
And
have to comment because you're fucking in Australia and we have tall poppy syndrome and you like to make everyone else feel shit.
And the majority of those comments are coming from the people that ain't doing the shit
Yeah,
because
they ain't doing
that
it.
feels their day.
That's
and,
it.
and you know what? It goes back to even like you were saying, it's probably that same dude that's had that idea for 5 years and never done fuck all with it.
All you're doing is highlighting his flaws.
Yep.
Yep.
And he's there to tell you that that's shit.
Yeah.
That's so sick to hear that though. And like you said, if you can sit with those little things, that is the key of just like keep driving, like same thing, like
Self-motivation.
That's all I
yeah,
need.
and knowing that like that one person, you change that directory for the better from just the shit you put out there or whatever. That's that sort of stuff that's like, well, why wouldn't I keep throwing shit at a wall?
Yep. And that's all I need to keep me going.
Yeah,
For
same,
the rest
yeah.
of the time for me running the brand.
Yep.
Yeah.
Her story is all I need.
Yeah, that is fucking epic, dude.
Yeah.
That is big.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
awesome,
really
man.
big.
Yeah, and there's been plenty, like we've had so many other stories. Guys in wheelchairs doing
Yep.
cool stuff because they're wearing our top. And,
Yep. Yep.
we've got some incredible stories that
Yeah.
really just give the brand like that. Oh, yeah.
And
we
no matter-
we exist for a reason, There's
Yep.
problem solution based with all products and things that you're selling. And,
Yep.
our solution is, just giving you back that power to give you that reminder that, hey,
Yep.
life's too short.
Yep.
Don't sweat
man.
the small stuff. Stop
And I
caring
guess-
about dumb shit and just get it done.
Yep.
No matter how rough it gets from now on and how much shit you cop or whatever it may be, it's just those couple of things that you bring yourself back to and go, well, I don't need to care about the things that I was just about to start caring about because I know I've done this and this has worked and this has happened for that person and I'm content and happy about that. So just keep moving on forward and doing your thing and that'll continue to happen.
And it comes back to what you were saying before about training yourself not to be negative.
Yes.
You get a negative comment on an ad or something or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
DM, it's really easy to sit in that for
Fuck yeah, it
a
is.
couple of minutes, if not
Day,
hours,
like-
days, weeks, thinking,
Yep.
oh, God,
Especially if you're already that hard person on yourself.
Yeah.
If you are a hard person on yourself and just, you fucking forgot.
plus you've worked so hard to build this thing.
Yeah.
And you're going to let some fucking comment tear you down.
Yeah.
And it does get to you unless you have the ability to quickly flick it and be like, fuck, hang on, I'm not worried about him
Yep.
because we just changed her life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at
Yes.
the same time, too, I've still got his attention.
Yeah.
He's commenting on my shit.
Yeah, he's
it
still
it might
watching.
be saying you're fucking this and you're that, but you're still
There's
talking.
a reason he commented and it's generally a projection.
Yep. And like that's where I always try to. A lot of those comments too, I engage and be like, "You feel better?" And then they go, "Oh yeah, no, but I actually like what you do. I just don't like when you do that." That's not for you then.
Yeah.
Watch the shit you like.
And
when
shut
I go
up.
when I go out and do a burnout in a fucking Falcon and you don't like it, shut the fuck up about it, bro. And it's funny, man. It's
true.
Once you give them that little bit, they turn because that's actually what they just want attention.
They want that.
They
or,
want someone to just hand them a little bit of something.
There are people that love drama on.
And
Oh,
there's
man,
that too.
there's
Yeah, like you've obviously
that.
got your people that'll banter back and they'll just sort of they'll eat it up.
The
and that's
trolls
when you go,
as
I'm gonna
such.
fucking.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's That's another thing in like coming into just like that self and owning it and being happy with it and having these, you know, those 5 things in the back of your head where, you know, I have helped that person. That person's life changed because of me. All those sort of things. Then you have these negative comments and it ends up just being a fucking joke, man. Like I can be like,
Yeah,
you're
say,
so dumb. Like you have no idea.
It's fuel, man.
It's
like E85 race fuel.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get 98, 95, 91. It's
top
fucking,
tier.
you're giving me avgas right now, motherfucker. 100%
I'm gonna come out
octane.
swinging on this one. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I just don't even let it affect me emotionally anymore.
Yep.
I just read it. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
that's your thoughts.
Definitely.
You've put them out there for everyone to see.
Yep.
So now you look like a cockhead.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've got zero fucks.
Yeah.
I really don't care, man. Yeah.
Yeah, too good.
It's so true, but isn't it? Yeah. Fucking hectic.
Oh, fuck. Well, I've got just to touch on and change subject over the board. I just want to say a big, massive fuck yeah and congratulations to Team Australia over the weekend.
Oh yeah, we did some Supercross shit, didn't we?
No, MX of Nations.
Oh yeah,
The World Olympics of motocross. Like every country comes together.
Yeah.
40 years we've been chasing this win and we fucking got it.
True. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That is
Jet
sick.
Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence, the 2 brothers, and Kyle Webster. Hats off to you 3. You're probably not even listening to any of this and never will. I don't give a fuck. But that's cool shit.
Hey, what were we just talking about?
Yeah.
We're going to have all 3 of them on this podcast.
Yeah, hey, well, we will at one point, mate. But right now, yeah, it's fuck, man. Like that's huge.
shit.
That's for someone like myself that froths nothing but motocross and motorbikes and all that. Everyone
probably
here probably sitting here going, Matt, we don't give a fuck. But
Oh, I do. I feel like there's a lot of people that probably tune in that keep up to.
it's only because
all
it's the
that sort of
Aussies.
stuff. Yeah,
Aussie
fully.
shit, you know, like that. That's 40 years we've been chasing that.
That's
Huge.
gangster.
Massive.
That is
Huge.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck
I
yeah.
just thought it would just to throw and, you know, change up the combo a bit. So we've always got to throw in a bit of moto talk.
Tweak it up. Yeah, bring a bit of moto in there. Other than that, I'm pretty. What I'm just like. What do you reckon the biggest failure was that you hit in doing everything you've done? What was like fucking that just fucking was not that just hit a wall?
That was silly.
Or not even silly, because I don't think it's ever silly because you had a go. It's more just like, nope.
Wrong way. Damn it.
I'm not doing that again. You know what I mean? Just that wall that you sort of hit and go, that was fucking hard.
There's been a few, of course.
Yeah. That's what makes it.
One that stands out for me was another expo we did.
Yep.
We just come out of lockdown, so I believe it was 2022
Yep.
in Melbourne. Ego Expo it was.
Yep. I've heard of that.
Did not read the room at all about what the expo was, what the audience was, who was going to be there, whether our brand was a good fit. It looked good at face value digitally. I'm like, sweet, like I think we're a really good fit here.
Yep.
Let's load up on stock, because the next 3 days it was like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or just Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, Friday we checked in, bumped in. All day Saturday, all day Sunday. I'm like, sweet, like this is going to be huge. I can't remember how much stock I got. I think I ended up with, it's not a lot now. Back then it was a lot. It was about 25, 28K.
That's a lot of stock.
And took it all down there, set up my booth. I spent like 10 grand on a booth setup. We bought all these waterfall racks and all this shit. I'm like building this retail store, right? I'm like, people are going to come here and have all this selection.
For 2 days.
Yeah, for 2 days. I'm like, that's what people do. I'm looking at other expos and how they set up. Okay, cool. I think we sold like 25 shirts.
Oh. Heavy.
And yeah, I was just like,
And like going from 25K, with like you had hundreds of shirts, yeah? Yeah.
I was just like, yeah.
So 20, you had, yeah, okay, keep going.
I'm like, okay, I got supplier bills to pay. Just pretty much just went all in here, like booth setup, suppliers.
Yep.
We're like 4 or 5 models that were there at the booth, just like running around, like doing stuff to get like more promotion. So yeah, front end hit for that. I was like, there is a carry on after that where people that were there, it's a bit of exposure does help.
Yep.
But it definitely didn't pay me back from
Yeah.
what he did. Yeah, that was probably the biggest mistake I'd made.
Yeah.
Going back to sort of what you said, why do you think it failed? By, like you said, like reading the room. Why didn't you stand out compared to everyone else? Or what do you think was the issue?
I think our booth was too busy because we just had like
Shit everywhere.
shit everywhere. We should have just had like 4 or 5 of our best sellers on the back wall in fucking Tupperware tubs below them.
Yep.
Right.
That is all I should have done.
Yeah.
So there was that too, but I think just the audience in general, it was like a very R&B, like hip hop type audience that was coming through.
Right.
It wasn't really the sort of culture that our ideal customer is.
Yep.
And it was funny because every time we would see someone that I know is like our ideal customer, they'd stand there like dog's balls, like walking through. Like, oh, here's one. Surely enough, they'd come in, buy a top.
Yeah.
Just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But there's been so many. I've done so many things that have just completely flopped and fucked up. And
Yep.
you just learn. You just overcome them. You
Yep.
just keep getting better at it.
Yeah.
It's, you never not, everything you touch is not going to turn to gold.
Yeah.
Like,
Fuck yeah.
You're never not just going to, let's release this and it sells out your store. Like,
Yep.
it'll happen occasionally.
Yep.
But
Yeah, you get those lucky ones that
Yeah.
do it once and it's popped and then they're set for the rest of their time.
Yep. And then you're like, oh, we'll do a color variant. Red's selling really well in that design. So you do a heap of red in your best seller and then it doesn't sell.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck.
Fuck, man. It's just, I'm sitting here going, like, 'cause I've heard it so much that it's just like in different form way. And it's like, yeah, the clothing company side of things is hard as fuck. I can only imagine. And I've worked with you, helped you out, done all the above. So that side of it, the physical side, like it's fucking demanding to do what you do. But then to get shat on as such in those ways and have an idea and then that idea doesn't work, it's just like, holy fuck, now what do I do? And then you've got the battle of there's 600 other fucking companies in your suburb
Yeah.
trying to do the same fucking thing. And yeah, that's so, yeah, well, fucking hats off to both of you because you've obviously, that's been quite some time and it's been plenty of time for both brands to fail and they haven't and you're still going along.
Yeah, we're tipping over 5.5 years now. And
Yep.
That's sick.
I feel like I'm only now starting to really have a good grip on it.
Yeah.
And I do think that is a time in the industry and in business, of course, but not having the gym is something that really takes up a lot of my cognitive load.
Yeah. You've got more time to focus on the brand.
Yeah, and now I'm working things out quicker.
Yep. Yep. Definitely.
But having the gym at the start and just learning, I guess there's a little bit of retail and there was like things being at the front of the gym, fronting it at the desk, doing all the things that you did as well as finding new locations, the first location, setting it up, all the above has painted you and made you the person that you are now to be able to deal with what you do now so much, I wouldn't say easier, but better maybe.
100%. Like you only learn from hindsight. And it's only hindsight that will tell you that all those things I did back then paid off.
Yep.
Yes.
And that was a lesson for me doing the gym fit out and having all the tools and the trade experience from when I was a plumber.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was able to do everything myself.
Yes, man.
Nice.
I'm like,
yeah.
fuck, whoa, all those skills translated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Apprenticeship wasn't a waste of time.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
can relate
But when
to
you're
that.
a third or fourth year, you're like, oh, fuck, a waste of time this is.
Never going to do this
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
shit
yeah,
ever
yeah.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
100%.
It's like, you're doing maths in school, and I've said it before. I'm like, oh, this is a waste of time, like whatever you're doing. And now I'm like in fucking Google spreadsheets every day
Yep.
to track and do our business numbers from shit I learned in like year 8, thinking this is a load of bullshit.
Yep.
But yeah, there's things in school that do transfer.
I was going to say,
To
you
be
have to
fair-
be one of the first dudes to say that maths in school, you've carried it through.
I'm not going to sit here and say, that I remembered any of it.
Yeah.
But I remember tracking back, thinking,
Yeah.
"Fuck, I wish I paid attention."
Yes. I feel you on that.
Yes, yeah,
and
yeah.
you know what? That's like that's a really, I don't know what the right word would be for it, but that's like a really humbling moment when you can get to that age and you've done enough that you can sit back and like you've done enough where like you end it and go, fuck, what am I doing that for? Next thing, what am I doing that for? I'm going to go. And then you get to this point where you're like, I know why I did all that. Because now I can implement that little bit from here, that little bit from here, and holy fuck, look what I've got. Like it's that.
And how good does that fucking feel?
Yeah, and like, and the way you can just implement it without even thinking because you've just done it so much in other ways, and it's a really empowering feeling to be like, I've got this.
The screen printer from Geelong that did our first bunch of tees.
Yep.
I met him through a network of someone in the gym.
Yep.
And someone in the gym I also knew had the blank T-shirts, and they were able to help me out with a good price from them.
Yep.
So if I didn't have the gym, I probably wouldn't have started the brand.
Yeah. See, there you
Because
go.
straight away I'm like, I know the process to get tops ordered, printed, etc.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. See, they're those little things that just you need. Again, it almost goes back to that. You need those failures. You need those like little things that happen all the time. Because at one point you're going to go back and go, I'm going to take a little bit of a leaf out of that old book of mine, and
That's why I always say I don't regret.
Yeah, definitely.
I only learn.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yep.
Like, yeah, definitely.
No, that's it. I fucking feel like there was something else I was going to touch on back there, but it's completely gone out of my head. We sort of touched on failures. Obviously, like, well, then what do you think your biggest win was? What jumped you up? What was your biggest sort of opportunity that got you ahead a little bit?
That's a tricky one.
Even I'm sort of trying to think of it myself in my own boots as
Isn't
I'm
that
saying
crazy?
it. And I'm
Because
like,
the fails
shit.
stand out like
Fails
dog's balls.
stand out, but the wins
just are
far
a win, and you keep moving forward.
Do you know what's
Yeah.
funny about that is when I was working with the guy who we honed in on those three character traits I was talking about.
Yeah.
He said, integrity, courage, resilience. He said, tell me a time where you've applied those in your life.
Yep.
Couldn't think of any.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of any.
True. It's
Couldn't
hard.
think of any. And then he said, okay, well then tell me about something negative that's impacted you. You rattle off as many as you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all there.
My auntie situation, like other
Yep.
times, relationship things, like
Yep.
parents, divorce, and like you could write a long list
Yeah.
of everything that's gone wrong in your life, but you write a list of all your successes.
Yeah.
It'll take you 5 times longer to write down things you've done well.
Yep.
Fuck yeah. And
Yeah.
I
Because
didn't
we're
even mean
wired-
for this
Because
to hit, but
we
this
are
is
wired. We are wired to remember those negative things because
Yeah.
they ingrain a pattern within our motor neurons.
Yep.
The reason for that is because it inflicts some sort of pain.
Right.
Now, when you stub your toe or you get a cut and it hurts, or you tear a muscle, there's pain.
Yep.
So then there's muscle memory. So the brain sends a signal, creates a pattern.
Yep.
You injured your shoulder because you lifted it to this position.
Yep.
So now when you go to the gym or you do something, you won't lift your arm past that point again because it sends a signal to your brain. And it's like, hey, whoa, stop.
You're about to hit that.
You're going to tear me again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you stop. What they've worked out is that pain, physical pain and emotional pain wire the same way in the body.
Right.
So that's why when you ever get any feelings of uncertainty, you create the same patterns that you do when you were the kid in year 10 that was leaving school.
Yep.
Because when he was in year 10, there was a moment of uncertainty
Yep.
and he behaved a certain way.
Yep.
Right.
That's when
yes.
you have these out of character moments is you are constantly leaning into old versions of yourself.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily saying it's wrong.
Yep.
It's just not who you are today.
Yep.
It's an old version of you.
Yep.
And to rewire that, you have to really dive into it. Someone that knows NLP and actually rewire that whole process.
Yeah. Right.
And it's pretty full on to work through that basically at I suppose from a traumatic events.
Yep.
If you can work through these traumatic events basically individually.
Yep.
So anytime uncertainty comes up, what was the moment that created uncertainty back when you were a kid? And it was ABC.
Yep.
It's like, hey, let's go back there and relive it.
Yeah.
This time we're going to relive the same thing, but we're going to change the outcome
Yep.
because it's only the brain
Yes.
that remembers how it felt, but it's still not reality.
Yes.
You get to create that. So, thoughts become things.
Yep.
Another story on that if we have time. I'm a big believer in what we think about, like we create in life, you bring it towards you. Manifestation.
Huge.
Believe it's massive.
Yep.
And you can go back there and change the outcomes. It might have been you had an argument with someone and it ended up in a big scuffle and there was a big issue at the end of it.
Yep.
You can go back and then have a conversation instead of an argument and shake hands and walk away, and you can just like visualize that in your brain.
Yes. And that's all that's sort of needed.
Then you go back and relive that moment, and you can't because you've now changed the way that your brain remembers.
You've shut off.
Remembers it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like changing the disc in pull the floppy disk out, just put a new one in.
Yep. Yep.
It's pretty full on how you can rewrite the motor neuron patterns.
Yeah.
Pathways.
Yeah. 'Cause I had to do that I guess it's a little bit different in the rewiring, but it's very relatable in a way, and more so in the sense of it's not fucking easy.
No.
And I think
so
it's
difficult.
that
And
acceptance too. It's going back and being like accepting, okay, that all happened because of this. I felt like this because of that. It is what it is, and that's okay now, and I can let that go and move forward. And then the next time that happens, you're sort of open to what else could happen. So, you know, and as long as hopefully that isn't fucking as traumatizing, or you're at the level that you can accept it at that time, then
And it's not like you don't remember the moments that you had, because they ultimately shaped you for a certain period of time.
Yep.
You remember them, but you don't relive them.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah.
I remember what happened, but I don't relive it, which doesn't surface the emotion,
Doesn't
which then
come up
creates the pattern.
Yeah. Interesting.
And back on manifestation, it was really funny when I was, it was probably, I don't know whether this is stupid or it's cool. I'll let you guys decide. I had the business plan to start the gym, and the funding was secured, but I was still second guessing myself because I was getting a little bit of negativity from people in my circle.
Yep.
Yeah.
This could fail, really silly. Just keep doing what you're doing. You know, you've gone really
Just
well.
be an
You've-
apprentice.
you know,
Just keep
You've
going.
come
with
out
the
of the
trade.
hole financially. You're back doing well now. Why don't you just keep doing that?
Don't
you know?
get any bigger than us.
Yeah.
Stop thinking.
Stay comfortable. You know.
Yep.
Keep the bubble wrap on. Do all that shit.
Yep.
I was driving home one night in the car. And I'm like, all right. I can't remember what book I was reading, but it was like all about manifestation and whatnot. It's
Fuck,
like,
man, you've told us you don't read books, and you've said you've read 3 books now.
I turned 25 and I read like 10 books in 2 weeks. And I was like, fuck, now I know everything. I was driving. I'm like, send me a sign that this is the right path for me to take.
Yep.
And this car went past with it, flicked the fucking high beams on. And I'm just like, oh, no, it's fucking bullshit. Like, that's just, that's just a coincidence. Like, that's ridiculous. So I'm driving home. Nothing happened. Get out of the car, and I'm standing in the backyard. It's about 10:30 at night, so it's pitch black. It was a clear night. Looking up into the sky. I said, all right, if this is the right path for me to open the gym and go down this road,
Yep.
I want you to send me a shooting star in the next 10 seconds.
Yep.
So I started counting down. 10, 9, 8.
Pisser.
I got to 3, and the biggest fucking shooting star went straight over my head.
Yeah, right.
Broke out into like a massive shiver.
Yep.
Whether it's just chance, I created it, or what, who knows. I asked for a sign. I got confirmation.
You got
Yeah.
that.
I walked inside and I was just like, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
This is what you're doing.
Sick.
And that just gave me 100% confidence and faith that it was all going to work out.
Yeah, nice. Fuck yeah, dude. That's cool as fuck.
And yeah, I guess that comes back to, or not doesn't come back to, but that's just very much the same as intuition, gut feeling, all the above. That's huge, man.
Yep.
That is so big. People see and look past that and think that you're fucking crazy. You let your gut tell you that, and you think it's going to. It's like now I've lived these 36 years, and when I've gone against that fucking thing, hasn't been that great.
Like how many times have you, something happened, you've said, oh, I was going to.
Yeah. I knew that was going to happen.
I was gonna.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
If I
just
had
fucking
done
do it.
that, if I had stuck to that, or if I had done that when I thought I would be in a different, better, whatever position now, it's like, and it takes a long time to learn that, to be like, oh, there's that feeling again.
Because we've
Because
been
it
washed not to, man.
It takes balls.
Fucking
That's
14 years of do it like this and listen like this and fucking indoctrinated shit that our brains are like, fuck, man. Like, we have to rewire it, man. It's like going back in and doing a whole fucking engine change, dude. Like,
It takes courage.
and that, it's
to
fucking
live
scary.
to live your true self and do the things you want to do takes courage.
Fuck yeah, it
But at
does,
the same
It's the
time,
moment
it's
you
not
stick your neck
scary.
out.
Courage, it could be daunting,
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't think it's scary. I don't think it would be classed as scary. Some things are daunting that make it very hard to then go and do or step into doing or think any further about it, because it's like, oh, fuck, like that's pretty full on. And then there's this outcome or there's that. I don't think it's scary as such.
Yeah, but it's the same thing, isn't it? That's what daunting is. If it's daunting, it's because you're fucking scared to go through that door because you don't know what's on the other side.
It's
It's just scary. Life's fucking scary, man. You know, that's the biggest thing with fucking humans is we're fucking too afraid to admit how fucking scary this whole thing is. No, it's not scary. Bro, everyone is shit scared. Deep down, until you're not. Until you're like, bro, I'm just going to run the ball up and just have a go.
That's right.
We're all a little bit...
But if you weren't, you probably wouldn't create. You wouldn't be where you are either.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You need it.
I think so too. I think it's
It's
a
like
big
that, fight or flight mode.
yeah.
You're in the middle of the fucking jungle and there's a lion in front of you. Yeah, you decide whether you're going to fucking fight or you're going to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I'd probably try and run, but
Depends
fight that
how big
motherfucker.
the stick I had on me was. You know, if I had a big stick, I'd go, fuck this.
Depends
let's
how
go
long
run.
I was walking through the bush for and how fucking pissed off I was.
You ain't running, bro. You got to fight, boy. You
I'm
ain't-
fighting regardless,
But
man.
the thing with that scenario is that's a clear fucking run.
Yeah.
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 The thing with life and society is you're not in those situations, but you're living like you are.
Yes.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
our biggest downfall is like humans at the moment is we are so comfortable.
Yeah.
We're living in this,
Fear runs people's lives.
Yeah.
doesn't it ever, bro? Like,
100% it does. And when, you can't grab a hold of that and understand that and know that, and that's when you see the sheep effect.
yes.
You know, you see it, people driving down the road, man.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing sitting? There's a fast lane and a slow lane. Why are you both sitting next to each other? Because this motherfucker over in the fast lane is following old mate in the slow lane. Because I don't want to. If I go or something might happen, so move out me fucking way, dude.
I am positive that people think just because they're in the right lane that they're going fast.
Yeah. We're
it's
doing
like an
it.
illusion.
It's the
We're
only
doing
thing that
it.
makes sense to me. It's like I'm in the right lane, I'm fucking nailing it. I'm up your ass when you're doing
Yeah,
fucking
it's
20
like-
below. It's like, bro,
Move
get in the way.
man. Yeah, man, and that's just that. I see it so much of the whole sheep thing. It's just like the following. It's just like
That comes down to responsibility.
bro.
They do not want responsibility. They don't
God.
want, because again, that's the fear and having that responsibility. If you take on that responsibility of, you know what, I'm going to go 110. Well, I might lose my license. I might crash. I might do all these things. Nah, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and follow this dude next to me because if he crashes, I'm crashing.
Yeah, or
I
I'll
think
watch
people's
him and I won't.
Or, yeah, it's
I think majority just aren't present.
well, that's another.
I think
Yes,
they're just
yes.
off with the fairies.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Like
it's-
they don't realise that they're not doing the speed limit until they look in their mirror and see you up their ass. Like, oh shit,
that is. I think that's.
I'm doing 90 and I should be doing 100.
Yeah.
Yep. And I had my phone in my hand and
Yeah.
I was taking a video of myself.
And I mean, I can almost. The only reason I agree with that is because I guess I've been there. There's been times where I am off with the fucking fairies. I'm
Yeah,
in
it
my own
happens.
head and
Happens.
I think I'm fucking overtaken. And the next thing you know, you sort of look in the rearview mirror and you got a fucking truck behind you and you're like, oh fuck, I'm a dumb cunt. But that's the trigger. Oops, I'm a dumb cunt. Move over. You get these people that are like, what are you fucking yelling at me for? Because you're in the fucking fast lane going slow, cunt.
I don't know what that means. What do you mean you don't know what that means?
But again, it's just not being present at all.
Yeah. I just learnt the best saying around that was you can't tell an idiot that they're an idiot.
Yeah,
So I just
100%.
Don't even bother anymore. I'm just like,
yeah.
just move.
It is.
And just walk away.
I
from
mean,
it.
Yeah.
you can. They just won't understand it. I'll still
This
call
is
you if you're a
what
fucking
I
idiot.
mean.
If you're a fucking idiot, I'm still going to call you a fucking idiot. But it's not my fault that you don't understand that you're a fucking idiot. Like, I believe too. Like, that's been one of the biggest like helpers for me is to just admit that I'm a fucking idiot. You know what I mean?
When the
Like,
time's right.
Oh yeah, all the like yeah, and like when
When you fuck up. Yeah.
or
absolutely.
just in general, like I don't know everything. I fuck up. Like that was a dumb move, and I know that was a dumb move. Rather than that like ego thing of like, oh no, well that fucked up because I tripped over. Yeah, you tripped over because you're a fucking idiot. Like break it down to that. And like obviously things happen, but it's so much easier to just accept and laugh it off when you can be like I am a bit of a fucking idiot. Things happen, shit happens. That
Rather
was
than
one of it.
blaming someone
Well,
or something else.
Fully, like yeah,
You got to take ownership.
100%.
You can't take
man.
ownership for your own stuff.
100%.
not
And
gonna
again,
get anywhere.
responsibility. Again, it comes back to that whole thing of like you need to take responsibility of you, your actions, and what the fuck you're doing in life, and that ends up sort of repaying a little bit because you can sort of start seeing things a lot clearer, and you can, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. Sort of lost myself, but
Where are we at time wise?
oof, that's a good one. All right. Well, we can finish. Last but not least, where you plan? What's next? Where you plan on going? What's the plan here?
Yeah, we're just scaling the brand now.
Yep, like you said, I had a bit of a logo flip.
Yeah, we did rebrand. We rebrand.
That's the word I was looking for.
We've been through 3 rebrands now.
Yep.
Started off our name like social media was ZRO FUX, ZRO FUX.
Yep.
And it was, I mean, it got us to where we were, but there would always be like really awkward conversations on the phone.
Yes.
You're like talking to the bank or You got to give someone your email address. They're
Tell
like,
me
"Oh,
about it.
Hey, it's Kris
Might
from
Die Production. Sorry, what's that? Might Die. Might D-I. Might Die.
So yeah, it was always like, yeah, it's Kris from ZRO FUX, and everyone would be a bit of a laugh, and they'd be like, okay, well, I can't say that on this call, so I'm just going to call it your clothing brand or whatever.
Yep.
So there was that nuance. There was a few things. I mainly wanted to expand our reach. I didn't want people to initially see the brand and be immediately turned off just because of what they read as a company name.
Yep, I feel you.
Before knowing the story, before seeing what it's about and what we stand for.
Yep.
So then we moved to just ZRO, ZRO.
Right.
And it did okay. Like it still did pretty well. But what we were finding was most people were on board with it being at zero, but they still wanted the old designs. They still wanted designs that would say ZRO FUX. And that's like a lot of our OG customers, which we built over three and a half, 4 years.
I would relate to that. If I was to wear your shit, I want it to say ZRO FUX. I want to rep that. I don't, you know, that to me, again, but then there's also, my mum wouldn't want to wear that. She'd want to wear the ZF or just the zero one. You know, so I get that there's always going to be those two demographics, and the same thing.
Absolutely.
I've got shit with cunt on it. I know people don't want to wear that. Some people do.
Yeah,
a lot of people do. It's pretty crazy. But
then we rebranded to ZF Clothing. Just to shorten it up, and ZF's mainly like what we're known for.
Yep.
And we haven't really removed the FUX side of it when we were just zero, because we completely removed that.
Yep.
Now we've brought it all back together.
Yep.
When everyone says ZF, everyone knows, we know what it means.
Yep.
So when you're on the phone to Shally from the bank, you say, hey, Shally, it's such and such from ZF.
ZF Clothing, yep.
Right.
Yeah,
And
nice.
it's a much easier conversation.
Yeah, it would be.
Yep.
I should really start saying MDP more. I don't know why. I'm just, Might Die Productions. Might Die.
But then we had trademark issues too, because it was phonetically pronounced as a swear word, which could be offensive to people. So we couldn't get trademark.
Okay.
Then I hired trademark lawyers to get onto it. We rebranded to ZF, and they approved our trademark.
Really?
So now we're trademark approved for ZRO FUX. So no one can, technically no one can use ZRO FUX
Cool.
in anything at all that's not ours.
That's cool. Was that's a little bit of a fuck around doing that copyright and shit, yeah?
Yeah,
I haven't even fucked with it because I'm just like, man, if you can steal my shit, that means I'm doing well.
Yeah, like we had heaps of
Steal
people ripping us off and doing mock-ups. Like all our clients, the customers that, our raving fans would send it to us. Hey, this person's printing your stuff, or they've got that on there.
Really?
Yeah, so we would just send bluff letters in the early days. I just used to make up some shit. You've breached copyright fucking 597. You've got 7 days to remove it. And everyone's like, oh shit, sorry. And I'll just be like, oh, fuck, got away with that.
Sick. Yeah.
Should have had the end of them, and you now owe $5,000.
Yeah. You can keep it, but give me 10 grand. And then I'll give you a cease and desist after that.
Sick.
But now it's all tidied up and legit now. So
Yeah, sick.
But once again, they're little things that people can worry about and get caught up on with starting a brand that don't really change anything.
That's what it was going to be something I say too. Like, I have these people that sort of come up to me and ask all these questions, and like that's the first one. They're like, so how do I get it trademarked? I'm like, you don't, dude. What makes you think anyone gives a fuck about stealing your brand? Like, until you get to a certain point, or if you've come up with magically the most brilliant name ever that will be stolen, then maybe consider it in time. But like, it's the last thing you need to do first up,
And the thing is, like, every country has their own
so you got to get a
laws
million
around
of the
it.
fucking things.
So you'd have to get it in wherever you're trading in.
Yeah.
But on top of that, it all kind of means nothing. It's typically, if it ever went further to court, it's basically about who registered it first and who started first.
Yeah.
So trademarked or not, I started this first.
Right.
If I couldn't get it approved and then someone decided to trademark it, and it was only like 5 months ago, I would still outweigh him in court because I started it first.
Yes.
But you have
Just because you
prove that?
trademarked, you would have like your website creation date, your first Instagram post, and the page creation dates. Like you got to have all those things in place. And the amount of times I've heard of people wanting to start brands, they've sat on it and then someone has started it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, like if you've got an idea and you want to start it and you haven't put anything out socially just yet, just create the page and put coming soon on it, like Instagram and TikTok, Facebook pages. Because people search.
Yep.
People search for it before they go and
Yep.
do the business
it.
name registration, do the designs, do all
If
the
they're
bits and
smart,
pieces.
a lot
Yeah.
of people don't.
Yeah, but majority will search, and
Yeah.
if they see you there, they're going to be like, "Oh fuck, it's already there. I got to do something else."
Yep.
Funny you
Go
say
jump
that. I don't know who I'm throwing under the bus here, but when you started Resurrection, we did a lot of research.
Heaps.
We didn't find any. I think there was like one churchy
There-
something. or
yeah, but
one-
Resurrection is
Yeah,
but
then
there was one in
one-
England or
something like that.
But it wasn't Resurrection Workshop. It was Resurrection
Yeah,
Automotive.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking close enough, but it was like over the other side of the world.
one popped up the other week.
I've had, I'd fucking trademarked another Resurrection name.
Yep.
I've got 3 businesses.
Yep.
Because of this, man. Like, and it's Resurrection something and local, close,
Yeah,
around the area. Like, fuck off, dude. Use your own fucking brain and just sit down and think about it because it was moto related too.
Yeah, it was like restorations. It was like,
Like,
yeah, when I seen it, I was like, bruh, come on, man. But you do get that shit a lot. You're always gonna have your people that can't think out their box. They go, that's a sick name. I'll just steal that and put industries after it.
yeah, yeah,
What? Cunt?
yep.
You know what I mean?
You're the cunts that made World Industries look fucking gay in the end.
All that, yeah, everyone had fucking industries. Like, yeah, that's an interesting one. But I can't remember where we were.
I didn't
before
answer
that.
your question about
Yeah.
biggest successes. That was the question, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
We never got there.
Yeah.
We're just saying how hard it is to pinpoint that one thing.
Look, I'm still a long way off from where I want us to be.
Yep.
So it's hard to sit here and say that,
Yep.
I'm really happy with where
I
we're
guess
at.
you could say in a nutshell, your win is you're here doing it.
Yeah.
Well, look, we've been through the toughest times economically
Yes.
the last couple of years with the gym and the brand.
Yep.
Like, I feel like to get through that the way we have has been
That's a pretty good
like
success.
a pretty good fucking win so far.
Yep.
I would say, look, my best win out of all that, if I could think of anything that it's not brand related, probably would be selling the gym.
Yeah.
Like, I created that from scratch. From
That would definitely,
my
yes.
own beliefs,
And
my own
it's still
thoughts and
going.
processes.
Yeah.
It still lives on today.
Yep.
Everything about it. It's had a slight little rebrand with color scheme and bits and pieces. He's done a really great job.
Yeah, nice.
But to be able to build a company and successly exit from that,
That is
is
pretty.
probably
And
That is-
watch it
that's a
still
win.
happen.
yeah, and it's still
That's
growing.
cool,
And then I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, should have kept it. But no,
Fuck that, I'll just start a new one.
but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be able to have the laser focus on the brand. So
Yep.
it had to be done.
Yep.
My time was right. It was like 9 years, so
Yep.
9 to 10 years. So
Yeah, sick.
yeah,
bro.
that's probably my biggest.
So just quickly, how long has ZRO FUX been established for? When did you start? 20?
Yeah, Jan 2019. So it's been like 5 years.
Yeah.
Five and a half
So
years.
between us, like on that same front, it's very close.
Yeah, yeah.
Like very close on starting because
We were mid 2020.
established. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you first.
But first
mentioned
started
it.
thinking and
Yeah,
I
we were
was playing
talking
out
about-
here
we
at
were-
2019.
We were No, we weren't here at 19, but we were fucking around. Yeah, no, we came here mid 2020, March. I think it was March 2020. But like we were. the
Sorry, I
conver-
was doing shit with Dad 2019.
That's you were still
Building
there were
to get-
conversations about it.
I was
We were like,
building my
dude, you're
kitty.
going here.
That's what I was doing.
But we don't have a factory. We don't have fucking nothing. We're in a fucking house, and you're
Yeah.
fixing me fucking 110 in the fucking
Lounge
garage.
room. We didn't have
in
a
the lounge,
garage,
yeah, we didn't have a
bro.
garage. That's what I'm fixing the cunt in the fucking lounge room. And then like a few days a week, you were working with your old man.
And that was building the kitty to be able to go out and start the business,
Yeah.
buy the tools, buy the everything, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's where the 2019 comes from. So
Yeah.
pretty close in, time, I guess. And
Yep.
yeah, it's crazy how much fucking shit can happen in that period of time, eh?
Years just go.
Yeah, man.
Years just go.
Yep.
You welcome kids along, like, would not change it for the world. Like, love them to death.
Yeah.
They're the best.
yeah,
But, like, you really realize how much spare time you don't have anymore
yeah, you would, yeah,
because obviously you want to raise your kids. So I'm spending a lot of time there.
yep,
And previously I'd be spending that time maybe flicking out a new design or I'd be doing something in the weeds. So you got to be more efficient.
Yeah,
The more that
definitely.
your responsibilities grow, you just start getting more efficient with how you operate.
Because we've spoken and had a fair laugh about it over times between my growth, your growth since I come back on board and all that, and people that surround us and I'm busy.
yeah.
I'm certain, no, you're not, dude. You're not busy.
Got no idea what busy is.
So when
And you laugh at yourself going back. Remember,
2 years ago.
Remember fucking
A year-
6 years ago, I thought I was busy. Dude, I was doing nothing. And like, you just get busier and busier.
Yeah. So my question on top of that, like, you were busy before your first kid come along.
Mm-hmm.
When you did have your first, did you notice substantial, like, holy fuck, like, I've already got all of this going on. Now I've got to be present. I've got to be a good dad, and I've got to be at home. Like, did you find that, like, now I'm really busy, or did you just make it work? Just make it work.
You've got 9 months to prepare.
Yeah.
So you find out your partner's pregnant. It's due in 9 months. You got 9 months to be
Not a lot of time.
It's not. It goes very fucking quick.
Yeah, it would.
But it gives you 9 months to be like, all right, in 9 months' time, my life's going to be different.
Yeah.
I have more responsibilities.
Yep.
I got to really work this out.
Yep.
Then you get to, you don't worry about it. You just keep going through it, support your partner through the
Of
process.
course, because the process, you know, you're seeing it, and it's all happening, and it's all
you
exciting.
do all the things and you support, and then it's like, oh, yes, you're doing 3 months. Oh, yeah, cool. Yep. No way. You're just working away, supporting, doing your bits and pieces. Next minute, you're in the delivery room and you're just like, holy fuck.
I'm a dad.
I'm not ready for this. And then, it's born. Your baby's born. It's the best thing ever.
Yep.
Best day of my life by a mile, the birth of my 2 girls.
That's
I was going to say, you got 2 girls.
Yeah, 2 girls.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't worry. I've already got the shoddy in the fucking rocking chair, mate.
Just sitting there fucking, nah.
But yeah, it's, like I said, you don't have the spare time, and having a second child is probably a game changer in that aspect.
Yep.
When you got one, your time is decreased a little bit, especially in the early days. But after that, like, typically, if your partner's with helping the baby or supporting it with whatever it needs at the time, then, you know, you're not really required.
Yep.
And then you give them a break, and then you might look after your kid for a bit or an hour, and you just rotate. Well, we did anyway. We took it in turns and shared the load. So it wasn't just like, yep, you got to look after the kid and I'm going to work.
Yep.
It was just like, we're in this together.
Yep.
You know, we're raising a family.
Yep.
And the moral of that story is one person's typically always free.
Yep.
Someone's got a bit of free time because someone's generally.
But you've got to be a good fucking team
Absolutely.
to make that work, man.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like, I don't have my own kids, but I got a missus with kids that I, you know, take on to a point. That could become a very, like, fucking, especially if, like, the, you know, both parents are the parents of this one person, child. It'd be like, I don't know, like, I guess a little bit like of, I don't know if jealousy would come into it, if that's the word for it, but it's like oh, he's out doing that, enjoying that, and I'm here and the baby's sick. And, well, last time he had the baby, she wasn't sick, so now I'm dealing with I'm getting the rough end of the stick. And then, you know, that I could see that creating some sort of, like, fucking, I don't know.
That goes down to having a good relationship.
It can
Exactly
happen.
that.
Just
Communication.
Good communication. It got to a point where, like I said to my partner, I'm like, every Thursday night's your night. Like, whatever you want to do, I don't care. Like, I'll stay home with the kids, look after the kids.
Yep.
Like, Thursday night, you just go do the nails, do all the bits and pieces, whatever. And like, as long as that's working at the moment.
Yep.
But yeah, just open communication. But what happens when the second child comes along, if you have two, is all of a sudden the person who had the free time doesn't anymore.
Yes.
So it's not like you're
That
sitting
makes
on
a
the
lot of
couch and one of them's got one of the kids and you're helping them with whatever, or
That's a
just
good point.
nursing them, whatever. Now you're both nursing them.
Yeah.
No one's cooking dinner.
Yeah.
I'm hungry.
Hey,
Well, fucking work.
I think we Ubered Eats for like, the first 6 to 10 weeks, I reckon.
Yeah, okay.
Because it was just like,
Too
by the
much.
time we did everything, we were like, geez, it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like, fucking cooking now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hectic.
Again, Macca's.
Yep. Hectic.
Yeah.
The joys.
Fuck, man, I fucking do feel that we've hit. I think you definitely hit on that win. Like, I think we did finish off with the whole goals thing where you're going, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, that's sort of what we're
Just
just
sort of-
finishing on
Yeah,
there.
sort of
That's what we're
implementing
doing. We're
anything.
just scaling. We're just going to grow
Yep.
a big company.
Yep.
Got 10x from where we are and then 10x again.
Yep.
So, yeah, we've got big growth plans to achieve that. And it's all
Nice.
about just hitting the numbers now and dialing it in.
Sick, bro. That's good to hear.
Yep. Got to have those massive goals, eh?
You do. He's like I said before, like, you know, you set a goal, right? In 3 years, we're going to be doing minimum 10 mil.
Yep.
And if that's what you're aiming for, but like I said, if you fuck it up by half, we've still done 5 mil.
5.
Yeah.
Still halfway there.
It's pretty
It's a
good.
really good way of looking at it, man.
Yeah, it is. Makes me sort of go, you know what, I'm just going to fucking aim. I mean, I always sort of do aim big, but like that.
You can look at it in a different
yes,
sense,
it's that
man.
perspective again. It comes back to being like, no, you know what, like I'm going to.
Sometimes it's like looking at it, you think it's big because you just say it, and then it's you want to write it down. Okay, what does it involve?
Yeah.
What processes need to be put in place?
Yep.
What operations need to be looked after, and how much staff do you need, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if, you know, you're looking at, I think when you break it down, like, you know, to do $1 million a year, like you only need to do like what, 2,800
It's not, yeah.
a day in sales?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, it's not a
And
lot.
then, but then it's also, and then there's like I watched this fucking dude fucking talk about this shit the other week, and it was what, real. You only need like $500, $2,000 sales, or you only need $50,000, $20,000 sales.
Yep.
Or you break it all the way back down, you might need $2,000, $50. Like my number shit's off the
Yeah,
but
like,
it's
depends
very
on your product. You could have a product, if you want to make $1 million, you know, you could have a $10,000 product that you sell 100 times.
bang, you're there.
You know, a $100,000 product that you sell 10 times.
Yeah, there's and like when
$1,000 product that you
breaking
sell
it down like
10,000
that makes
times.
things a lot clearer. It's not just like, oh my god, how am I going to make $1 million? I've got one T-shirt that's $30. That'll never happen. It's like, well, no, you only need to sell this many,
Yeah.
and like, and if you can mix it up and do a bit of that, like it does, it makes things.
Like if you
seem
want to
lot
crack a
better.
mill, you've just got to do our average order value. Want to make that $100?
Yeah.
Yes.
So $100 average order value. I just
Yep.
need to sell that to 10,000 people.
Yes.
You got to make $1 million.
Yep. Yep.
And it's like the population of Australia is 26.4 million.
Yeah.
10,000 people out of that
Yep.
is like
Fuck all.
0.0034.
Yeah. And like
It's
when
not a lot.
putting that all on the table, it's just like,
You look at it, you're like, fuck.
That's so fucking
I'm,
easy.
Like I'm thinking way too small.
yes.
Yeah, I should be like
Yeah.
blowing
yeah.
this out even bigger.
Yeah.
It's also not easy, you know, like, you know, and knowing things like playing with the whole social media game to even get 10,000 views is hard.
It's not easy, but at least it's a plan.
And it, yeah, definitely. And it's doable.
And it's on your watch.
Yeah, it's
something
right
to
there.
work
It's
towards.
accessible to any single person out there to be like, you can do this. You've just got to do it right. And
Yeah.
The right advice helps.
correct.
man.
I've had a lot of bad advice. It's cost me a lot of money over the years.
And did that bad advice come from people that weren't in the position that you wanted to be in?
Typically people that, the worst advice I got are people that,
Weren't
No.
where you
and
wanted
my
to
number
be?
one rule is take advice from people who've got what you want. That's like my number one
100%,
rule.
man.
And they may have had the money or achieved huge amount of success,
Mm.
but on a product level and a business level and how they operate was completely different.
Not
Yep.
your-
So all of a
yep.
sudden it's like, well, hang on, that's not going to work.
yeah.
You know, you go from, you know, people that make just one product
Yes.
and it's, you know, it's a one buy thing. You're not going to come back and buy another 3 or 4 of them.
Yep.
Yep.
Like a good quality water bottle. You're not going to buy a new one every month.
Yep.
You might buy one when that one breaks or
Yep.
whatever. But where, you know, fashion, you're creating a brand. You want people to come back and buy more things. They're going to
Correct.
buy something, they like it, they're going to come back, and you better have something for them
The
to
next-
buy when
yes.
they fucking come
Yeah.
back. Are you
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
lose
yeah.
them? They'll go buy from someone else.
Yep.
So, yeah, taking advice from people that are super industry specific
Yes.
and still trading, so they're in the know of the current economic climates
right
and
now,
bits
yep.
and pieces,
Yeah.
is all super important when you're taking advice from people.
100%. I feel you massively on that. But I think it can be sometimes difficult because, you know, people that are in that position, they're either busy or they know exactly what the fuck they don't want to give up. So the next person that is wanting to do what they've potentially done or made it, you know, it's going back to the selfishness of like, oh, I've done this myself. I'm not letting any of my shit go. Like, you know, you're always going to come across people like that have done it the way you would like to do it and have achieved good things out of it. So that's, I guess, part of, again, things being fucking hard, difficult.
And it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And if it's either an exchange of money for their knowledge,
Yep.
or you can try and be a little bit more tactful about how you do it. Maybe if they've got a brand, maybe you buy a few things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Show them that you actually support the brand.
Yep.
Then they might be open to being like, oh yeah, I'll have a chat to this guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, he's bought a few things and
Supported
he's
me a
genuine.
little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
And I
when you-
mean, I look at it too in like mostly though, if someone isn't willing to help and they're in a better position, then they're not really in a better position.
Or they're a shit fucking human.
Well, that's sort of what I
And there's a
mean.
lot of those
That's
around,
sort of like,
man.
so like most people that are doing it on the right sort of go will throw that advice to anyone that needs it.
For sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
because they like would have loved that when they were in
correct. It's like, man, I wish someone
spot.
fucking told me that. Or like, not even. It's like, once you're super comfortable in your own lane, you're like, dude, you're not my competition anyway.
that. Yeah.
Sort of know what I mean? Like, we are in. So like, I'll give you this advice
But
because you're going to
yeah.
do it your way anyway. So you take what I.
I think if you start looking at it in a competition sense, at that point,
Yeah.
Which is scarcity. Scarcity mindset.
yes.
If you have come from a place of scarcity, you're not going to say anything.
Yeah.
But if you're in a space of, there's enough for everyone.
Yes.
Some people buy MDP, some people buy ZF.
Yep.
Similar morals behind the brand, like we've
Correct.
discussed.
100%.
Different people behind them. People
Yep.
are going to buy into me. People are going to buy into you.
Yep. Yep.
Some people might buy into both of us.
Yes.
Fucking cool.
100%. Yep.
But that's
On
what
the
it comes
weekend,
down
they're
to.
going to the gym. On the weekdays, they're going to the gym. But on fucking Saturday, they're riding.
Yeah.
That's our perfect double client.
Yeah.
But you might be, and because like that is your demographic mostly sort of gym related.
It kind of
Sits in that
trended
pocket.
that way, but now it's actually a pocket we're trying to really refine as well.
Yeah.
But it's kind of gone from like everyday wear, but more just that adventure.
Active.
Yeah, active lifestyle. Kind
Yeah.
of like the active lifestyle. So there's
Yep.
the gym environment. There's
Yep.
freestyle motocross, like the extreme sports element of it.
Downhill, bike.
There's that.
push
You know,
bike,
there's
fucking
going
whatever.
fishing offshore, like
Yep.
Yeah.
just out in. My missus was driving down Elliott Avenue on yesterday, and she rang me. There's a guy towing his caravan going camping, a ZRO FUX sticker on the back.
Cool.
Sick.
So like the caravan, like
Yep.
the camping,
Yeah.
outdoor adventure lifestyle
Yep.
market.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
kind of
Yep.
what appeals the most.
Living.
Yeah, just living. ZRO
Yep.
FUX, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I.
Just living your best life.
Yeah.
it.
Don't
Totally.
give a fuck about anyone else's opinions. Just doing me.
Yep.
Focusing on what's important to me.
Yep.
Caring about that.
Yep.
Yep. Nah, for sure, bro.
Shane, we need to put CRC on that seat.
It's getting a bit rinky, isn't it?
Farty every time, man. I just hear you. I'm like, who's farting, dude? Like,
So if you can hear that in the background, I'm not farting. My chair's making some weird noises. But fucking oath, I reckon that was a banger. We're over it. What are we at? 2 hours what? Fuck, that's our biggest podcast yet, brother. Thank you very much.
Let's go.
shit.
Yeah, no, that was a real good yarn, man. Fucking much appreciate you coming down. Obviously, if you're all out there, make sure you check out his shit. ZRO FUX. You've got your fucking Instagram too, your perso, that you sort of you stay away from that. It's pretty just personal though now, or is that where you?
No, it's starting to show up again.
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
to show up again. I found the identity when I had the gym and the brand. It was really hard to know who to show up as.
Yeah.
So I'm a gym owner and I've got a clothing brand.
Yep.
The gym's scaled to 30,000 people in Gisborne.
Yep.
You're always going to be restricted to that.
Yep.
The brand's now global.
Yep.
I'm like, fuck, who do I do I show up as the guy from Gisborne or do I show up as the
Yep.
guy that's running the brand? I'm like, do I wear a ZRO FUX t-shirt and talk about the gym? Like, really difficult.
Yep.
Really difficult.
I'd love to hear you.
I probably made it way more complicated than it is.
Yeah.
But personal Insta. I think it's Kris spelled with a K, KRS __
Yep.
Preston. That's it.
Yep.
Give it a
Brand
sus.
is ZF Clothing _AU,
Yep.
and that's us.
Get onto it, people. Have
Get
a
around it.
sus.
Good shit. Thanks for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. If you're still here and you fucking kept up with the whole good yarn, because that was good yarn. I don't know why you would have left. But anyway, cheers. See you on the next one. Whoop, whoop, motherfuckers. Catch us later.
My die!